Tonight, we're going to talk with the guy who, in my opinion, has the best Bigfoot tech out in the field right now. So let's get into it.
Something big is spooking residents. Multiple people have claimed to see a large furry animal trudging through the woods.
I literally could see him from all the way over here. I started hearing it. It was very large, and it was running so fast.
City of sorts for campers in Taos County. The Sheriff's Office is sharing safety tips on social media to protect yourself from
Bigfoot.
I saw something out of the corner of my eye off the side of the road in a culvert.
It's not like a bear, and it wasn't like a coyote. I've never seen anything like that.
No details. Big, like 10-foot foam, big thing. It freaked out, hit in the leg.
I don't think it registered what it was.
What's the likelihood that there are big animals that have gone undetected by scientists and by trained observers?
What is up, everybody? I am back from Canada and feeling much, much warmer than I was when I was in the frozen tundra. I tell you, Canada's just one of those places that I don't think ever gets warm. I was cold the whole time I was there. From the second I stepped off the damn plane to the second I got my ass back in Florida. It was cold. When you're out with the fellas, right, you got to try to act tough. At least in my head, you don't want to, you don't want to seem like a wimp, right? But I can't do that cold. I can't do it. I don't care how much time I spend in it. I'll never be able to do it. It makes my whole body hurt, people. It really, really does. But it was a good trip. It was really, really cool. I interviewed 3 of the guys that we went with. Robert Maxwell from Cabin in the Woods. I interviewed O'Neill. O'Neill is like a retired cop who has a psychic connection with the Sasquatch. So cool, interesting, beliefs from him. And it was just a really nice guy anyways. And then Les, interviewed him. So I'll be doing another interview with him. He's going to talk about the question of Bigfoot and where it's at. So any of you Kickstarter members out there who may not have heard, Christmas of this year. And I'm telling you right now, I don't know how he's going to make it a 1-part film unless the film's like 5 hours long. He has filmed so much stuff. And I get that you whittle it down and you don't use everything. But damn, the amount of interviews he's done. He's in England right now doing an interview. It's just crazy to think about. But I was glad to be a part of it. I cannot tell you what happened. But you'll know when my video comes out, right? So like I'm making a video about the trip. It'll probably be a 45-minute video or so. Like a mini documentary. I was just documenting my trip up there and, my kind of angle on everything. And then I come back and I get sick as a dog because I end up the last night we're out there. I end up camping away from the cabin and it snows on me, bro. And I come home and I'm sick. That is the way it goes, right? So anyways, tonight, the one fella I didn't interview because wanted to interview him on the show. And then it also turned out to be too late and we were all dead ass tired. Is Logan from the Bigfoot Livestream App. And I kind of briefly heard about this thing, before I got to see it. And I was like, okay. I knew that I think Matt Moneymaker had a live stream back in the day. So I was just like, not thinking much because I really honestly did not believe I was going to see the kind of equipment that I saw. You know what I'm saying? Like, the dude has, it was impressive. The whole rig, everything about it was really impressive. And I didn't expect to see that. I expect it was going to be some kind of bullshit that I would rig together, right? Like on a shoestring budget. But no, like I think the military would be jealous of this setup. And I'm not lying. This has got to be some kind of like military grade. Anyways, let's go ahead and get Logan on the show. He can straighten it out. Let me know. Logan, how you doing, brother?
Hey, good seeing you again, Stacy.
Yeah, it's only been about what, 4 or 5 days?
Yep.
So how was the trip for you?
It was good. Good company, good people. I have no complaints really, other than felt like I was kind of a roadie half the time, lugging stuff around and building stuff. But
brother, I don't know, like building that damn frame. I have never had such trouble with anything in my life, dude.
Yeah, I won't be buying that frame again.
No, like, and how do you tighten it and then can't loosen it? I don't know.
It's that power lifter strength, I think.
It almost felt like there were too many chiefs and not enough Indians.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Because everybody's like,
it would have been good with instructions too.
Oh yeah. So yeah, hey, I wanted to get you on to talk about this because it's pretty amazing what you got. The app in itself, like the detail, some of it is. Right? Because you've got metrics in there like the moon phase, how many thermal hits you've had. You know what I'm saying? There's a bunch of information on the app itself. So I want you to kind of tell everybody about it, and then we'll get into why you got all that. So,
okay. So it's like probably 2.5 years of labor trying to build it out, to be fair, because I had to do it from the physical, the front end, from the cameras all the way to the back end to the app. So it's pretty much me designing the whole thing. So I work in I guess you could call it software engineering or reliability engineering. Work for a lot of big banks, communication companies, a whole bunch of different stuff. But you pay these guys a lot of money to build something like this. I'll just put it that way. And it takes a lot of time and energy. But I think it's and I'll get into my experiences, but I think it was something important that I put together, and I just kind of want people to know Bigfoot, and the people that are interested in it to like join the research in a different way, really, if you can't get out in the field or super into Bigfoot or just curious. But what it is it's either fully off grid or it can be powered through standard AC. But I need to build it for all the contingencies, so off grid, on grid, and enough solar and batteries and everything else to withstand some of the elements. I can't control the weather sometimes, so if it's cloudy for 2 weeks straight, like on some of the off-grid things, it's God telling us we can't see it. But
so what happens when, like, let's say that does happen, because I'm sure that's going to happen in Canada, where we were just at. They didn't hardly have no damn sun to begin with. So when them batteries go completely dead, will they come back up once the sun comes back out?
Yeah, it'll it'll slowly come back alive and pop back up, and everything will, once it gets a little bit of the right amount of voltage, it'll juice back up. So, and the other system out in Radium, so it's right beside a mountain range, and they've never actually had anything out there in the winter. So I kind of really wanted it to see what it looked like in the winter. So I went out there and winterized it in November, or end of October, early November, I want to say. And I built like kind of what, I built some racks and bought new solar panels and did a bunch of stuff. So I wanted to see what it would be in the winter, because there's no research out there in the winter, because apparently it gets like -30. Like, so it stayed up for a good amount of time, but I didn't know the sun wouldn't hit over the mountain in the winter there. Like, it only gets so high and then goes down like the Northeast. So from January to February, it was only up for one day. And I was like, dang it, that's driving me insane, but there's nothing I can do about it. So it's been pretty rock solid, though, as far as the other system. Ever since February, it's pretty much been up continuously. They had maybe a day in the middle where it snowed a whole lot, like, and it was down for, I don't know, maybe half a day, but it's up and running and going. The only other problem with that one is I've got to replace a component. So just waiting on someone to get out there on Sunday and fix a microcomputer. I had to build a whole new one and ship it up there. So, I mean, there's things that break, just like everything. Nothing's ever 100% reliable, but I try to build it best I can to be pretty redundant. So yeah, it's pretty high-end cameras. Some of them are thermal, some of them are just optical, but they needed to be, I want to be able to control them remotely, 360s, pan them, be able to program them to move when I want to, or programmatically turn off the IR if there's a moon, that it's a full moon. And there's just different protocols for like RTSP and RTMP, and I'll try not to get too technical, but certain protocols I wanted it to be capable of, and there's a bunch of different things there. So I just had to find the right equipment and the right way to build it and the right way to make it weatherproof and waterproof and be able to be out in the field and test it. So I spent like months and months just trying to sort out all that testing. And I'm not a solar or DC engineer, so I had to learn it all myself. So I just started learning how to do all that, and tried to not kill myself, electrocute myself, do all those things.
Yeah.
So once I built all the front end, while I'm doing that, I had all the app stuff going and the back end. I mean, you got to think you have to build the whole login system. You have to build multiple databases. You have to build a whole lot of functionality, a redundancy. And I have to figure out how to stream. I want to say all the cameras right now are probably making about 12 or 13 terabytes a month, maybe more. I got to figure out how to stream all that data, put it to somewhere, and then be able to recall it, and then make thumbnails out of it, and make clips out of it, and then put a system in place that you can query it and look at the data. So it's a whole intelligent system at this point. I just spent time, like endless nights programming and coding and trying to figure this out. So, yeah. But yeah, there's a lot to it.
It's impressive, man. And you know, you have the app, and what is the membership? It's $5.
Yeah, it's $4.99.
$4.99. Okay, so like, I got called a scammer by this guy Harry Man Chode, because I sell expeditions. And so you have people that when you attach a price to something that deals with Bigfoot, they're like, oh, he's in it just for money, right? However, okay, how much do one of these systems cost you altogether?
For an off-grid system with all the right equipment that I want to
that system we set up at Les's place?
I
What'd you
probably spent about 15 grand on it.
15 grand, people. The man come out of 15 grand out of his own pocket to try and document Sasquatch, because it's not only video, you're also capturing audio, and we're going to play some of that stuff that you have caught tonight. But it just blows my mind how some people be like, oh, he's charging, so blah, 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 blah. You know, that's a bad thing. But like, yeah, he's trying to recoup some of the money. The Bigfoot community has needed something like this in the woods, whether people watch it or not. They've needed this in the woods for the longest time, and now we're finally able to get something. I want to pull up a picture here of one of the systems so everybody can see it. And so kind of explain what we have here.
So the solar panels there, those are two 500-watt panels. So this is kind of like the side of my I call it my lab, but the side of my house here. So I just do a bunch of testing outside of my home. But so basically, and that's actually the camera's right there. I've got like a really heavy base there. It's almost built. It's built for like a temporary stop sign or like road work, right? So I just mounted the cameras on there. But the camera on the left there is a bispectral thermal optical. It's really meant to capture more optical than audio. So the audio hookup for it is pretty annoying. So I don't like to run audio through it. It's just not really built for it. But the main functionality of that one is thermal, in my opinion. And then the one on the right is full optical, close to 4K functionality, has a built-in mic system, 360. All these cameras can spin 360 and go wherever you want them to. And they're all powered. There's a switch inside the equipment box that powers these over Ethernet. So that was one of the things I really wanted it to be. I don't want any kind of super annoying AC cords. I want it to be just network cables that power everything. So luckily the world has evolved to where we can do that now. So I try to make everything as efficient as possible so I can run these cameras. Technically, I could probably get them 500, 600 feet before it loses voltage. I just don't like to go over 300 feet just because I'm paranoid. But yeah, the system in the middle kind of in-houses everything, and I just custom built it all. It has some off-the-shelf solar stuff in there, but it also has some custom built things that I put together, some microcomputers, basically a Starlink, like the V3 Starlink needs 56 or 57 volts to operate functionally. So you have to kick the system up to a certain voltage to get a Starlink to work off grid the right way until Starlink changes the way they operate. But yeah, there's custom networking in there. There's like a power bus. Everything I built has a fuse on it. So every lead has a fuse on it. Everything's redundant. And then, so the thing about these cameras is they have to be, and I'm kind of talking technical right now, so you can slap me around, tell me to stop. But like the batteries need to be like 48 volts. So I have the batteries in an array to be 48 volts. So it's a 48 volt system that converts to 56 and back down to 12 at the same time. But the cameras themselves need to 48 volts to operate over power over Ethernet. So it's just a lot of architectural stuff there, and then built some custom glands for the cable management, so it's so no water gets in, and then I put the backing is actually the material is actually like almost like a boat fiberglass, so it keeps it kind of insulated,
right?
And it doesn't overheat. And the boat fiberglass stuff is pretty solid material for what I wanted to like mount into it. But yeah, I mean, in an essence, I mean, I could teach someone how to build it, but it's if you haven't built one of these before, it's not going to be easy. But
I don't even know how you would have known where to start. You know, the system also ain't very small. Like there you are standing in front of the solar panels, and like the one we hooked up the other day had 3 panels.
Yeah, this one has 3. There's another one behind it, but this one is
okay.
one you can see this one's just more of like everything is standing straight up. Because I was super paranoid that the snow load up there was going to be too much and it was going to cover them. So I just made them straight vertical so the snow wouldn't accumulate.
Right.
So the snow probably got a little bit below those panels. So I was thinking it might get like halfway up them. So I was trying to figure out what was going to happen because I honestly didn't know how much snow they were going to get. That's kind of why I built those in the mountains like that.
I see you went with a much easier plywood frame as opposed to a Canadian product.
Well, I was trying to figure out what was the simplest way to make it look organically, not super metal out there, but at the same time, super easy for me to build. But I thought that one out in Ontario was going to be easier since it was like, you know, hey, this is what industry standard is. And it wasn't like inexpensive, to be fair, but man, it was a piece of junk. So next time I do it, I'm just gonna buy 30 pieces of lumber and do it this way.
Yeah, no doubt, bro. And so when you're putting the cameras out in the wild, this one here looks like it's mounted in the top of a tree. Is that correct?
This one's probably 15 feet up, and we just climbed this tree really and mounted it up there. We didn't even have a ladder.
Right. Now, how loud is the camera when you're like rotating it, or if it's just running? Is it something that can be heard?
I mean, if you're right beside it and you're moving it around and turning it in directions, I mean, you can hear the motor move. But as far as just stagnant still, you can't really hear it. Even the microphone that's built into it will catch some of the background mechanical, right? And it's just the name of the game because, you know, microphones aren't really meant to be outdoors 24/7. So it gets a little bit of that sound, but it's not a ton of background noise. But yeah, it's pretty solid, and it has its own built-in heater system. So when it gets cold, it kicks the heater up. Kind of like Starlink has their heater. These cameras have heaters built into them, and a bunch of other cool features. But yeah, it's not too noisy.
Well, how many of these do you have out?
So I have a system in Texas that has 2. Pennsylvania has I want to say 5 different streams, and then Radium has 3 different. It's fixing to have 4. I'm just waiting until Sunday, Monday to fix that one component and get some of the other ones online because it's dependent on that component. But I don't know what happened to it. I call it Bigfoot Woo, but it just died on me, and I have no reason for it. So that one.
So you have like a dozen of these out?
Yeah. Yeah, I think probably at least a dozen. See, I'll have whenever I have all of Survivor Man's cameras up, I'll have 13 different feeds.
Wow. For $4.99 a month, people. I'm telling you, like y'all need to throw me super chats and stuff, and I'm just up here running my damn mouth. This man's actually got something going on. So y'all that's crazy, bro. That is crazy.
Yeah. And I'm like you, I still get complaints the same way. Like,
fuck 'em.
Why can't you make it for free? Like, I'm trying. This is like, I can't even buy a drink for $5 anymore.
No, you can't, dude. You can't go to Taco Bell or McDonald's for $5.
So I don't know. I think in today's market, it's a deal, but I get how people, you know, want to save money because the economy is horrible.
Yeah, well, if anything, should be an investment. Look at it as an investment into Bigfoot research, because what happens when you get, you know what I'm saying? When those people that are watching see something walk by. Now, hey, that's another question I got. How do you know when something's messing with it or walking by? Do you just have to be watching at that moment, or do you get an alert that says thermal camera just went off?
So I built it in a way that is interactive, and recently, like, I've had a back end to where I can look at the events, but I wanted, like, I've been trying to build that for like a year now to where the community can see what I see, and then it be efficient. So right now you've got basically 3 different ways. You can watch the live stream, and there's a button while you're watching it where you can report a sighting, and it autofills the current timestamp, and you have some tags there for movement or eye shine or whatever, and you can put a description in, and that goes to like a real-time database. So I'm trying to collect all that, and then eventually I'll just start posting all that so everyone can go review it. I've been worried about people signing in and just putting garbage in there. That's the other problem. So it's hard to make public things like without people being, you start making things public and people start putting inappropriate stuff in there. So I kind of have to figure out the best way to like weed some of that out. But,
hold on, what do you mean now?
you know,
what are you talking about? They have the ability to add something?
Yeah, they can put a description in. So technically, if you just want to be a jerk, you could put a description in, say, hey, at 12 a.m. I told two Bigfoot humping each other, right? You know?
Right.
So if I make that
public, so
public,
they can't like add pictures or nothing.
No, not yet. And that's the other problem.
Because like just saying, like if I was to go like test out my bikini calendar, you know, and get feedback, I couldn't do that there.
No, you can't. I've really thought about giving people the ability to upload and do all that. But at the same time, I don't want it to like turn into like a big hot mess. So I really have to figure out a way to like police it. And I'm one person, so if it gets out of control, I don't know how I'm going to control it.
Well, you know, if somebody did it, if somebody got on there just to troll, at least they paid for it.
It's true. And
you know what I mean? Like, okay, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's a lot of people that are really like super into the feeds, and they'll watch it every night and send in reports and send me emails personally to my like contact email and say, hey, I really need you to check all this out. So, I mean, that's the reason I want to do it, because I wanted to make it legitimately like into research, but like I was saying, like you have that live feed, and then every 2 hours, and I was trying to make it like to where it's reasonable again. So every 2 hours, all of the data and all the video processes and then uploads, and then it's available like on the review footage section. So like every single 2 hours, as long as the feed is up and not idle, you see every single bit of it. So let's say if there's some kind of weird movement and somebody saw it in real time, they can go a couple hours later, it'll be there in the app, and they can look at the full footage. So if it's like, oh, I think I saw something, and later on it's a deer, you know, you can say, oh, nope, that was just a deer, right? So that's the one thing like game cameras and stuff don't really have, is the ability to go and look at every single bit of the footage. Like you don't really know what happened. You're like, oh, I got an event, but I don't know what happened. So I wanted it to be like definitive. If we catch data, like here's the whole day's lead up to, here's the whole nights after, like there's no manipulation. There's no sense of, oh, this guy's using AI. Like, hey, like we can post the entire day's worth of footage and you can review it, right?
Right.
So I wanted that functionality for legitimacy. And then the other thing is I built a bunch of super complicated, I call them data pipelines, that look and they scrub the video and the audio, and they have different layers where one's looking at audio, one's looking at thermal, one's looking at movement, one's looking at thermal and movement. But they sit there and they look for all those events, and then they post all those, and they make clips of everything, and it gives it like a confidence score. So I'm trying to build the model of, hey, here's an event, here's how I think it's scored. So let's say you get some that are in the low 20s and you can get some that are 100%. So the system pretty much knows 100% ones, there's going to be something there. And then the lower ones, there might be something, but there may not. So you can kind of go off the confidence score if you don't really want to look at every single event and kind of look that way. And then there's, and again, I'm nerding out here, but like the system itself, when you go into the event clips in the event management section, you can go down and you can rate the score. Was it something? Was it not? So when you rate it, it was good. It actually takes that clip and puts it into another system. And then it has a background system that churns it and then updates my code and says, hey, here's a good clip. And this is what they said was good about it. Like if it was thermal or movement. And then it updates my code to enhance it. So it's community driven enhancement of the actual algorithm. So if you say it's bad, it'll go update it and say this is a bad. And if you're not sure, you can just put that in there. But I'm trying to like build what I think is a good model and then have people look at the events too and say, no, this is bad, this is good. Because, you know, there's going to be instances where it's like, oh, yeah, that was like a tree that a big branch moved because of the wind. Because I can try to get the background noise out as much as I can with the wind and ambient noise and stuff like that. But sometimes like this signal frequency and amplitude is just going to be like not match the model perfect, right?
Right.
So you get that with like green cameras and other cameras too, to where it's just a bunch of garbage. But they only care about someone coming to your door with a package for the most part. They don't really care about anything else. So their model is pretty like tightly honed to looking for people and stuff like that. This is like, I'm trying to look for orbs. I'm trying to look for eye shine. I'm trying to look for whoops. I'm trying to look for subtle movement. That's, you know, I'm trying to look for these human-like figures that may or may not show up on the screen. So it's like a lot more difficult to like build that model. So anyway, that's the other thing. It's the event management. It's the review footage. It's the live streams, and you can send a report on all of them. But I have like, I want to say 5 different databases on the back end that like records everything. So I'm building an analytics model as well. It's like 3 months worth of data, and then it puts it in the cold storage, and then I'm building a model off that data. And to further go, I was like, well, people are going to have all this stuff and then I'm going to know where to start. So I built an integration that it basically queries all my data for all the cameras that have in the database for the events mainly the events. And it says what was you ask it questions like what was interesting last night. And then it'll tell you, well, this camera had high impact footage or a thermal hit or a high confidence score. So you can actually ask the data questions to go look for things yourself. So it's kind of like I'm trying to integrate some functionality with AI so people could use that just to query the data like a normal ask it questions, get results back, and then go run with it. I have to limit that to like 10 questions a day just because of back end costs for me. But I think it's pretty cool. I'm proud of that feature. I sit there and ask it questions all day.
So, hey, random question. Has anybody ever told you look like Kirk Cameron?
Kirk Cameron. Is that the Christian guy?
Oh yeah.
I don't think so. No, I haven't got that. I'm not going for the Kirk Cameron look, but that's good.
Yeah, it just randomly. I thought about it earlier. I was like, he looks like Kirk Cameron. I was like, oh my god! So I wanted to bring it up, and
not yet.
Okay, I figured you got it a lot, but okay. So some of the stuff you've caught on this so far, I could only upload so much.
Yeah,
but this right here, explain to us what's happening here.
So this is a field on the other side of the property in Pennsylvania, and I'm zoomed in probably. That's probably like a 32x zoom. That tree line right there is probably 400 to 600 yards away from the house.
Right.
So this property gets a little bit of everything, and it's hard to know where to look, to be fair, because it's all over the place. So I'll turn the cameras in the field some nights. I'll turn them in the forest. I'll turn them against the house. It's kind of like it's Wild Wild West there. I really don't know where to point some of this stuff. And there's a lot of angles to point at. So that was, from my standpoint, it looks like two orbs going through those trees. And I don't know how else to explain it. And you can kind of see them going back behind the tree line and going through. And
Is that not see, I thought that was a car. Like what I thought you was talking about was this thing that flies kind of towards the camera at the beginning.
No, that's not a car. So those trees actually back up. There's a swamp behind there. There's no roads.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. So, hey, I was watching the thing at 5 seconds because I thought that was a car.
No.
I thought you were trying to show something throwing a rock at the camera or something like that.
No. I think the thing in the front was probably a bug or something.
Okay.
I'm getting pretty good at getting the bug garbage out, but yeah, those two on the top that are flying by, they get like all these weird orbs at this place, and it's all the time. And most of the time, they're not super low to the ground. They're in the tree lines, or they're like 20, I don't know, 50, 100 feet up. Sometimes they're closer, but I mean, those things are actually light. It looks like it's actually illuminating the forest.
Yeah, especially there at the end.
Yeah. So, and I can't explain that. And you can see where, like, when it hits the trees, it looks like they're going behind and in between.
Yeah.
So it's not like this weird artifact in the front. That's actually way in the tree line there. And that was more or less just me randomly seeing that in an event. I'm like, what the heck was this? And but yeah, that property owners sit there and they report orbs at this place all the time. And half the time they're at this weird angle where I'm not really pointing. Like, I don't want to point towards the sky all the time. I do have one of these side cameras that points towards the sky that I call the orb camera, but it's not really part of the system, and it's more of like an ancillary, like, side camera that I just use for like capturing audio if it's a better angle on audio. But it's that's a super interesting thing to me, because I looked at it for a really long time. I couldn't explain it, and there's definitely no road back there, and
no trail, nothing.
No, I've walked those woods. It's just woods there, and it goes down into like a swamp.
Holy cow. Okay. So yeah, I thought it was like a rock throw or something at the camera. That's cool though. This next one, I think, is a collection of whoops.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's play that real quick. Now, was that captured all on the same day?
No, those are probably 6 different sets. So, interestingly enough, they have this all the time. Like, it is consistent. That's the one thing about this location is when I went out there, I didn't know what to expect. You know, a lot of people say a lot of big talk, and I was like, well, you know, maybe so. It took me a long time to gain the property owner's trust. And, you know, I'm just a guy saying, hey, let me use all this cool tech to come out to your property and use it, right? But they, like, it is consistent ever since August of last year. It is nonstop whooping, whistling, slapping. I probably have, I don't know, 150 different clips of them hitting the house. Like,
Oh, wow.
I can't even, like, I don't even have time to upload all this. Like, I have so much data from there that I've got a backlog of like 500 events that I just been busy like trying to get the app coded right and like it like user friendly. And now I'm trying to like upload all the backlog. And I've got like I said, 150 times they've hit the house. From the month of March all the way to the middle of April, it was like every single day they'd come up, they would whistle or they would whoop, and then they smack the house 2 to 3 times, and sometimes it's multiple times at night. And I will point the thermals in the right locations. I'll point all the cameras, like I'll turn them all and put dead set towards the house at pretty much every angle I can think of. And I cannot seem to figure out how they're doing it, or I've gotten some footage of some blurry stuff, and I've gotten some footage of some in between that homestead and the garage where it's just thermal. But other than that, it is like a lot of audio, and they like to go to a certain location where they think is safe. And I think it's multiple juveniles, or maybe some juveniles and their mom or something, and the mom's out in the woods. I don't know, but they seem to think it's like a game, right? Like, hey, I'm going to go sneak up on this house and beat on it and then run away and laugh, right? But they've been doing this for years, and they leave handprints on this property. They leave presents and gifts there. They have tracks there. I sent you some pictures of some snow tracks.
Yeah, got them right here.
That was from January. I mean, I'm not from up in that area, but this is literally on their porch right beside the homeowner's window. So I have a camera that's pointing out down towards the porch, and I have another camera that's pointed angled from the front of the house all the time. And this one's thermal because they keep coming towards the front of the house, and they would have had to jump that railing to get up there. And I can't find one instance of them jumping that railing. I can't find it on camera. I don't know how they're doing that. And I mean, this isn't like a mansion of a house. It's a, a smaller, probably house built in the 70s or 80s. And, it's like, those are just some of the tracks. They were all over the porch. I think they're somewhere between 13 to 15 inches. And there were some smaller ones too, some juvenile ones. And the property owner constantly will text me and say, there's a bunch of tapping happening outside right now. They're like tapping on my window, right? And I'm just like, I can't see them.
Right.
I don't know. Like, I have all this tech and I can't see them. I can hear them. So again, it just puts another wrench in it, because if I can't see them visually on the spectrum, like, how are they doing it? So I need to go out there.
Hold on. What do you mean there? You said you can't see them and they're tapping them. They're not on the spectrum. Is the camera pointed to where they should be?
Yeah, like, there's only one way onto that porch, and right now we have, so there's like a side view that's not public, that's trying to capture like the where they should be crossing.
Yeah.
Like on this tree line, and then there's another angle that's pointed down to where they're hitting right there in the front, and it's got optical and thermal. So they literally, to get to that spot where those tracks are, or to get to the property owner's window, they'd have to cross one of those views. And I've scoured those views tons and tons of times because they have so much activity, and I can't seem to find any like direct visual. I can get the audio, and I hear the audio from multiple different cameras, and I hear it. like I said, there's some fleeting glimpses of thermals deep in the woods. I've gotten some of those, but like the ones that are so close, it's almost like they're taunting. Either they're taunting me or they're just having a good old time. I don't know. But there's been instances where they're like right beside the camera. I know they are. I can hear it. And they will slap the house and I can't see it. And I'm just, anyway, it's driving me a little nutty because I don't really know what to do with it.
Well, so my buddy, he got on his game camera at Flat Rock's house.
Mm-hmm.
What appears to be like the predator walking by. Like it's just an outline of a human or a human shaped figure. It just walks by the game camera. It's the craziest shit. Like I know people want to stay in this whole ape camp, but you're gonna see it's hard to stay there when you're left with things like this.
Yeah. And I don't try to go down that route, to be fair. Like, I'm trying to stay in my lane and just collect the evidence, but it gets to a point where you have so much evidence with no explanation that you got to start asking other questions, like, what else could this be? Right?
Yeah.
So I'm with you. I don't remember if I sent you the footage or not, but I do have one that looks like there's this weird predator glow eye shine, and it's right beside this tree, and it kind of looks like it's the whole sides of it or have that predator look, and it kind of goes behind the tree, right?
Yeah.
And that's what the IR on right there on that tree line. So there could be a ton more data and footage where I have of that's just not getting picked up. So that's why it's kind of, my mindset is the more people watching like really active spots, like the stuff that I can't capture or I'm not getting, like maybe the human eye and the human review can, right?
Yeah.
So that's my community pitch for everyone is, the more people staring at something, the more you're going to see. But
I know at least one person has signed up since this show has started because he said it, and I put the comment up on the page. But so let's see here. You've got a picture or a video here. It's about 1 minute and 46 seconds long. Okay, so kind of walk us through this.
Okay, so this is when
this is Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah, this is Pennsylvania. So I've had radium in Pennsylvania to this point where I'm at on this in August of last year. So basically, they were having activity on the property. It seemed like they were going in between the garage and the homestead. So this is kind of like I turned the camera around. So right here, there's something right here, right there in the middle of the garage and the house. And right there, something, it looks like it's probably 4 to 5 feet tall. I've done some analysis and made the property owners walk back and forth here. And it's definitely not them compared to this figure. But you see something rise and fall, right? So at first I thought, well, maybe it's them and they're like putting their phone in the air or something. But I started looking at it deeper and I can't see any like clothing on the arm, if it is an arm. So I was thinking maybe that's an arm coming up and down. But to me, it looks like more or less something jumping down and not moving down. It looks like something jumps off of this other one and jumps down. And I can only speculate because, like I said, you can't fully tell what it is. But it's right where they were slapping the house and doing whoops in the same time frame, right?
Right.
So I decided, and this is I was having everything pointed towards the wood line because I just figured naturally, hey, they're going to be coming through the woods, right?
Yeah.
They're going to use the woods as their back camo in the background. And then I asked the property owners, hey, can I just point it towards the back of your house? Like, I'm going to try to be as uninvasive as possible and just point it right there in the middle. And then literally like a day or two of me doing that, that's what I got, right? And this is before I started putting a whole bunch of other equipment up. After I got that footage, I was like, son of a bitch, look at this. Like, I need to put more cameras up here.
Right.
So
this is the audio, I think, of the house slaps and the chimp sound?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me play this. Let me back it up a little bit and play this real quick.
So yeah, I have there's other clips that give the whoops and the little chimp sounds better. That one's not the best audio,
Right.
but that's just what I got out of that night. But yeah, it's really interesting. To me, like I said, it looks like, and this is just my perspective, I could be totally wrong. Looks like something's jumping off like an infant or like a juvenile or a 2 or 3 year old's jumping off the other one and jumping down.
Right.
And I can't prove that. It's just I'd love for someone to give me the other perspective. If I'm totally wrong, I'm fine with that. But
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's something we caught. There's something on that I sent you like a couple things. There's one that's just like a pure thermal and it looks like white hot. And I don't think I sent you the other one that it's super weird and I don't understand it. It was 2 weeks after I put the first camera up there and something crosses right in front of the lens and goes back and forth, back and forth. It's almost like they're holding something up to the lens it's some kind of inanimate object that has a stitch to it and it makes it weird looking. I don't know. I've tried to reproduce that like 10 different ways and I can't figure it out. But that's my opinion. I have some footage out there on like my Instagram and YouTube and probably, I don't know. I tried to throw it on all the platforms because it was super weird.
Right.
But that's out there too. It looks like something's passing in front of the IR lens and giving it like this IR flash and going back and forth. So I don't think it's like the backup one, to be fair, but it's 9 feet in the air. So it's either somebody holding something up to the lens or it's I really don't know because it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And I will say that the property owners, they're not in the best of health and they would definitely not be stumbling out there in the middle of the night in the dark, trying to mess with the cameras, because they could possibly fall and like break their hips, right? Like there's just no way. And they've got a lot of other health problems and I feel really bad for them. But they're great people and they're really into this subject.
Well, let me ask you a question. How do you go without, because you got audio rolling too. So how do you go about not catching like domestic issues on camera? Like,
so there's a couple cameras that have audio there. There's one that's like dead center in the back. So it'll catch a lot of the audio that I want to catch, but like anything in the front of the house, it's harder to catch. So the front of the house is where I try to give them their privacy. So that's why I have some side cameras that aren't open to the public. So I try to be as straightforward as possible that, hey, this is somebody's house. I can't just like live broadcast every single bit about them, right?
Right.
But there's been plenty of captures from all that equipment that, and I have this Eagle cam that I mounted probably 20 feet in the air. I call it the Eagle cam, but it's got the thermal lens on it. And I had a bunch of cool Bigfoot researchers with me help me mount this thing. But it can kind of pan 360 and look down at the front, and I have it pointed to the front or across the field, and they have this old or I don't know if it's super old, but an RV there, so it can look in all directions. So I'll try to move that thing around, but and that one doesn't have audio, which is good because I don't want to get into their conversations. So I do as much as I can and try to make it as private as I can and work with people. So it is what it is. So if they report something and they said, hey, there was some bangs or something, I can go back and look at the other like ancillary cameras or audio devices and kind of do like a third party review and post that stuff out there. But you can still hear it from the other camera. It's just I can't get in their business.
Right. Yeah, I would imagine people would be like, I don't know if you'd want a camera around my house. You'd catch me peeing in the yard all over the place at different times of the day. It'd be like middle of the night. Stacy walked into the woods and just peed and then went back inside.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I'd love to just put it out in their woods, but man, most of their activity is like on like hitting their house and like right beside it. And
that's the issue. The entertainment source is the house.
Yeah, and so I feel like, and there's a pattern. The Texas site is an older woman as well, and I think the main point of interest of this Pennsylvania site is an older woman as well. So it seems to be like this feminine energy that they seem to be drawn to certain people. Maybe, I don't know. It's just a theory, but it seems like a lot of women I meet have that Bigfoot energy to them, so they get more activity. I don't know why. But it is what it is. But yeah,
never know. There may be something to it at the end of the day. Well, so let's talk about your experiences. You've got some stories, and then you've also got a crazy ass story that your brother-in-law had happen, and I want you to tell that one, but not at first. Okay. We'll get into the other stuff. So what kind of really got you into this? And, tell me about the experiences you've had.
So growing up, my dad listened to a lot of Coast to Coast because it was kind of like the paranormal thing, and he drove to work really early. So he would tell me stories that he heard on the way to work, and I was like, oh, that's super cool. I'm like, I want to start. So once, and this is before podcasting got big and stuff. So I listened to a lot of AM radio at night when I was going to sleep. So just listening to like researchers and paranormal stuff and Bigfoot stories, alien stories, that all got me super into like, hey, maybe there's more to life than we're seeing here, right? Because you don't really hear a lot of that stuff mainstream. You kind of have to, at least back in the day, you didn't. You kind of had to dig for it. So that's kind of what started. And Bigfoot to me was always super interesting because I'm like, well, if there's anything that maybe we can prove is real, it's a Bigfoot because they're living on the same plane as us. They're not in the sky. And, if they are this real creature or individual, they've got to be easier to prove than aliens, right? Something that's technically maybe just as smart as you are and not this like godlike alien that has 10 million years of technology ahead of you, right?
Right.
So I think that's kind of why sorry, lost you there. I started getting into some podcasts and stuff, but I really, I was pretty amateur with it. I think I'd probably seen your footage, didn't know too much about it. So I was just kind of scouring at night. And then I came across, and this is another controversial person. I came across Todd Standing, and he was talking about his documentary, and he was talking about, hey, if you don't believe me, come out and I'll prove it. And I was like, it's pretty boastful. I haven't heard any researchers say that. So I want to see what this guy's about. So I went and looked at his documentary and did a bunch of research on it. And I was like, either this guy's an incredible hoaxer or he has incredible footage, right?
Right.
And then it took me a couple months to get in touch with him. And I ended up getting in touch with him. I went out with him later that year. And so I went out with a guy that was named Craig from Red Deer and me, and we went out there for a week. I want to say it was in September of 2021. It was during the COVID era, so I think it was 2021. And I had, let's say 4 different experiences the first time I went out there. So I guess if you count some apples being taken, 5, but I mainly have been going out to his location from like 2021 to now because I've had mainly my main, besides Pennsylvania and the newer sites, those experiences out there with him. But I wanted to get to know Todd as a person and see what he's about and get into his background and his story, because there's there's lots of hearsay on the internet and makeup artist stuff and all these things. So I kind of got to know him as a person at the same time, and like his technical abilities and all that stuff. Like I kind of just wanted to dig at it. And this is just all my opinion, but and I'm kind of getting away from my experiences. But Todd's really good at what he does. He's really good out in the woods, but he's not good at being what people think he is, like this master puppeteer or a robot guy or CGI guy. Like he's not super organized. He's not super efficient at that stuff, and he's not technical whatsoever. So it's like a trifecta of, yeah, that Todd can't do this.
Right.
So that's my opinion, Todd. Take it for what you want. It's just an opinion.
Well, I haven't met the guy. You know, you hear stuff on the internet, but I hear stuff on the internet about me, and it's like, where the hell do y'all get this shit? You know what I'm saying? And so you can't trust things you hear on the internet. Looking at the footage, one of the pieces of footage, I believe. The other ones, not so much. But I've wanted to talk to him, and I've wanted to hear his side of the story, because that's, in this whole like echo chamber we live in, his side of the story you don't get. You know what I mean? And I don't think he's been good enough putting it out there.
I would agree with you.
But he has done a good job of getting his stuff out there. But some of the shit is wild, brother. You're talking about he went missing for a while, and like I think the Canadian government was looking for him. If that's correct, like some of the things you hear is just crazy, dude. He sounds like, if it's all true, he sounds like one fun person to be around.
Yeah, he's definitely a character. And he knows, like, he's an outdoorsman. He's a tracker. Like, he knows his shit. He knows his environment. And he knows his Bigfoot and his Bigfoot, lore, whatever you want to call it. So he's definitely in tune with all that. But yeah, he's he's Todd, right? I feel like it's, you love him or you hate him. There's no in between. So yeah. So that being said, like, second day I was out there, we were trying to talk about wood knocks, and we were putting these apples on this tree where he showed me these 15, 16-inch tracks that go up this hillside in the moss. And he started putting apples up there for gifting, because he thought maybe they were leading him to that location for whatever reason. So we were just sitting there in the morning, like second day I was there, the very first time I met this guy, and he was talking about what he thinks the tree knocks are and some of his methodologies. And he was saying, I think it could be like them hitting the tree with a rock instead of a piece of wood. So he had Craig pick up this rock and hit this tree as hard as he could. And, if you hit a tree with a rock, it hurts your hand. So that's one of the stipulations to it. But he hit this tree, and it was a fairly large bang sound, right? It probably went, I don't know, 50, 100 yards before the forest consumed the sound. And we just sit there and waited, and he's like, yeah, I usually just wait. And this is totally impromptu, by the way. Like, we woke up whenever we got up because we were super tired. This was like 11 o'clock in the afternoon, and this place is remote as hell. There's no signal there. There's no cell phone service, and it's 60 miles from the nearest town. But so he hits the tree with this rock, and then 30, 40 seconds later, you just hear this huge bang sound, and you can tell the direction it's coming from. It's on the other side of his camp, like northish of his camp, and it sounds like 10 times louder than what we did. And I don't know who did that. It'd have to be Thor with his hammer out there hitting a tree. Like, I don't even know what to think about it. So I was just like, what the hell? And he was It was like, I told you, like, he's like, I don't have a buddy out in the woods. You think he can make that sound? Like, he's like, so when I was out there with him, when stuff happened, we would try to go investigate it. He would give it some time though. I don't think he does that anymore. Like he'd go look for evidence like later on in the day or the next day, and not try to like get in their business. But like we went the next day and looked for that. We were trying to look for something that would have made that sound, or like some tree that got messed up or something. And we went to that general location, and we literally found 15-inch tracks going up this hill, and we filmed it. And it's from that general location, and then it goes up this hill, and there's a rock that's moved out of the dirt, and it's moved over here. We couldn't find a tree that got hit or anything, but we found a trackway, and it's the classic inline. It looks like somebody's doing, like, we tried to do the steps, and you have to lunge to step in the steps because whatever it is has a different gait than we do. So and they look like they weren't old tracks. And then we kind of like, okay, well, maybe this was that individual responding to the knock. And then we walked down a little further, and we found this huge, I want to say it's 19 inches long and 8 to 10 inches wide, just into the ground, 3 inches deep, track, boom, like a stomp, like Bigfoot, like dinosaur. Like, I mean, when you see it, you don't even believe it. It's like unreal how big it is.
Right.
And like, that's the first evidence I saw, and the first like interaction, I guess, if you want to call it. And all along the way, and this, I haven't seen it at a lot of sites, but his site has these really weird tree breaks all over the place. And like, there's some little ones, there's big ones. They don't make sense. Like, they don't look like snow load. And there's like an age to it. Like, there's older ones, there's younger ones. And he's good at telling like how old trees are and how dead they are. I'm not that great at it, but you can age how old the tree is based on the foliage coming off of it and the color and everything else. But yeah, there's all that in the mix. But that's kind of like my first experiences. And then sitting at camp, we heard what sounded like this weird whooping owl sound at night. And then the next morning we went to that location, and the tree, like the juniper tree, is pushed. You can see 2 footprints standing there, again, 15, 16 inches long, where it's like just been sitting there. And if you're 8 feet tall and you put a camera up, you can see our campfire perfectly, right? So like, it just sat there and watched us, and then made some sounds and left. And we found the trackway for it, or we found the foot indentions for it. And they were feet, they weren't boots. You could see the toe marks. And then and I'm trying to truncate this a little bit and not be super long-winded with my stories. But I mean, there was 2 other interactions on that expedition. One sounded like a baby chimp behind us at the campfire. It's the weirdest sound I ever heard. And it was literally probably 15 feet over my neck in the darkness on this back trail. And it didn't make any sense. And this place is pitch black at night. There's no sound. There's no bug sounds. There's no nothing. You just hear this weird chirping, chimp-like, babyish sound coming from behind me. And I was just like, holy shit, what is this? And then there was another thing to where something responded, and it sounded like someone smashing a tree. And it was in the distance, and it was random, and it was middle of the night on a night hike in this big open area where we did a call out, and there's no light, there's no anything, and it didn't make any sense. And we again found trackways, we found all these things, and there's just no way anyone's out there with Todd, because honestly, they'd just be fucking nuts to be. I've seen like 10 grizzly bears out there. I've seen all these black bears. There's mountain lions. There's big moose out there. There's no, I mean, most of these things probably don't see people, right? So if you're out in the woods with no lights out there, you're nuts. Like we ran into a big 800-pound black bear in the middle of the night too. Like people that would do that for little to no money, it makes no sense. So the theory of like hoaxing out there is just kind of like almost 0% chance in my opinion. But yeah, that was like the first like introduction to Bigfoot that I got, and I kind of got hooked after that because I couldn't explain my experiences, and I couldn't I couldn't debunk it. I went through all of Todd's stuff. I went through his history. I went through all his footage, and I personally couldn't debunk anything he was saying. And that's kind of what I wanted. I wanted someone to take me out to a place that they said is a hot spot, that they have activity, and it's not just a bunch of guys camping out in the woods drinking beer. It's like real people trying to have a Bigfoot experience or some kind of interaction where they say it's consistent. So that's all. I'm all about consistency. So that's why I went out with Todd, because he's saying he has consistency. And then the next time I went out there, to be fair, I had 0 to nothing happen. And I even went up the mountain that Survivor Man went up with Todd. And I had, from my experience, I had 0 to nothing happen. Like there was some like rock clacks, but it could have been rocks falling off the mountain. Like I can't say that was anything. So like you're not going to have a Bigfoot experience every time you go out with Todd. You're not.
Right.
But I can say that was the only time I didn't. And I've been out to that location probably 6 or 7 times now, and every single time something happens, except that one time. So it's like 80% at this point. But the thing that kind of got me into like this project and like really super like, dang it, like I really want people to know this is real kind of a thing, is I was out there in I want to say it's 2024. And again, I'm finding a lot of evidence. I found some like fresh tracks out there. I'm really wanting to see if I could go away from the group and like have my own experience, kind of like what you did with Les, and kind of get away. Because I feel like maybe they'd be more drawn to someone that's alone. So I really wanted to do that. And the whole time I'm trying to find a good spot. And every time I think I find a good spot, it's like raining that night. Right. And I'm like, man, I don't want to wake up, because I wanted to sleep in my bag under the stars and not in the tent. I was like, man, I don't want to wake up with rain all over me. So I ended up, again, there was a bunch of lead up here and there's other experiences, but I ended up sleeping by the campfire one night, and there was another gentleman named Dan with me, and he was just outside. He likes to use his knife and like whittle some wood. I was supposed to be out there alone. He ends up falling asleep in his chair out there, just passed out. And I woke up about 3, and I was just laughing because like this guy doesn't even know he's out here, right?
Right.
And so he gets up around 4 a.m. because I have my phone. I'll look at it every now and then because I'm not getting like a good sleep because I'm thinking something's going to happen while I'm out there. Because most of the people that stay out there do not sit in the open woods or the open air. They sleep in their old camper shell because they're scared of bears and stuff. Or just the environment itself. Like you're kind of like, if a Bigfoot's here, I don't want to get woken up by one. Like people come out there for it, but there's weird scares, like this weird feeling of dread. You probably know it. It's kind of like this fear. You're a man until you're there, right?
Bro, when I was out there, like I went out away and slept on that cot in the woods, and dude, when I was laying down, I'm looking up, it's snowing on me, and I'm like, why in the fuck did you come out here? Like, because hey, like a Bigfoot is probably the best case scenario of something messing with me. Like, what if a bear comes up when I'm asleep and decides to grab the sleeping bag? I don't want to deal with that. It's not
Right.
that I'm worried of dying or anything. I don't want to have to deal with that. Or a moose, there's a ton of things that could happen. And then the thought of it being a Bigfoot is terrifying. I don't give a shit who you are. I stayed out there anyways, but don't think for one hot second my ass wasn't scared to death, bro. 'Cause,
I mean, like you said, like when you think about it, like, yeah, whatever, I could do it. And then you get out there and you're alone in the woods in the dark. It's different. So I'll just preface it with that. But so this guy, he gets up about 4 a.m. He puts a log on the fire. He tells me, he's like, good night. What he doesn't tell me is after he told me this later. He's like, yeah, I got up because there's a bunch of noise happening behind me and I didn't know what the F it was. And I was getting scared. So I got up and went into the trailer. I was like, oh, you could have told me that. That would have been nice information to know. So about an hour after he goes in, it's 5 a.m. I'm not used to mountain time. The sun comes up there, like it goes down at 12 p.m. and then it'll come up in like closer to 5 a.m. So you really get like 4 hours of darkness at certain times of the year there. So I'm from Texas. I'm not used to that. So I thought it was later. Because I kind of opened my eye a little bit and I could see a little bit of blue haze. And I was like, oh, I guess it's morning. I can try to get some good sleep now because nothing's going to happen. So as I'm literally doing that, and the time's about 5 a.m., 5:05, somewhere in there, I roll over and I put my hands on my chest and I'm kind of at an angle. And I just roll over, put my hands on my chest. And as I do that, you just hear 2 feet go and jump backwards and land right beside my head. Like you could hear it was bipedal, 2 feet landing, right? Like it was behind me watching me. I startled it because I moved directions and it jumped backwards like a couple feet as like, oh, he's moving. Like, is he awake? Kind of a thing. And I was like, at that moment, my heart was about, you could probably see it coming out of my shirt, right?
right.
And I couldn't really look. I'd have to like totally turn my body at the angle I was to look over my shoulder and like look at whatever this was at the time. And I'd have to like, so I'm thinking in my head, trying to calm myself down and get through that fear process. And I'm trying to slow my heartbeat down. And I'm thinking, I have one eye on the right, it's kind of cocked open, the other one's closed. I'm like, does this thing know I'm not asleep? Like, and I'm trying to make sure I'm like not hearing stuff. And I calm down and you can just hear it like kind of walking around my head real slow, like step. And I'm like, oh, son of a bitch, I'm not crazy. This is right beside my head and it's right on top of me. What am I supposed to do? I have total disadvantage. My shotgun's like 4 feet to the right of me. Like, it doesn't matter what I do. If I look at this thing and it looks at me, I'm thinking, is it going to like punch me in the face? Is it going to kick me? Like what the hell is this thing going to do if it knows I'm not asleep? So I'm kind of internally trying to like gain the courage to look over my shoulder. I keep going in and out of like calming down and it keeps walking around me. And every time it does, I'm like getting more anxiety. So I eventually I just get the courage. I'm like, all right, I'm going to turn the other direction. So it's like not like abrasive to this thing. So it's like, oh, he's looking that way. Maybe it won't like get upset with me. So I kind of move my body the opposite direction towards the fire. And then I slowly look over my shoulder like this and look over to where it should be. And there's nothing there, like zero. It's gone. There's no tracks. I mean, this was a good 5-10 minutes of stepping all around my head and doing all this stuff. And by the time I get the courage, because this is what I came out there for, to look, this thing was like in the dust, ninja'd out. I didn't hear it leave. I didn't hear it approach, right? But I could hear it right beside my ear walking. So that got me super excited about it and like freaked out at the same time, and also wishing I would have like just looked over the first time, right? I really wish I would have just done that, but lesson learned. And next time I will when that happens. But it kind of drove me to start talking to Todd of like, hey, I'd like to put some cameras out here at your base camp. Would you be okay with that? And he's like, yeah, I don't see a problem with it. I've been here for 10 years and, I don't, he's in the sense of, he's like, they've seen all this stuff. I don't see how they could tell the difference between a camera and a Starlink or whatever. Right. So he's like, yeah, go for it. And I was thinking through it. I was like, well, I want to be able to do this for not just me, but everyone to be able to view this site, because I was like, there's definitely something going on here. So that's when I started building the app and trying to figure out the architecture. And so like the Radium site is like my lighthouse of proof of concept. Let's get it going. Let's get it working, because I know there's activity here. But I also wanted to not limit it to Radium and just do an expansion. That's why I was actively going on podcasts looking for people that were interested in trying to do it. So I found like Doug Hychek, and he got me in touch with these Pennsylvania folks. And then it's just, I keep getting in touch with more people. And then I got in touch with the Texas folks. And then there was a couple other things that just kind of fell through. But I'd love to have cameras as much as I can possibly do without just killing my personal self-worth. But I mean, I've spent tons and tons of like money into it. So at this point,
well, now how do you decide that you're going to put one there? You basing that off of one weekend, or like how long?
So I like to talk to the people for a while and get a sense, ask them about activity, how frequent it is, get to know the person some. I mean, a lot of it is like, I will say it is a little bit of blind trust, because this is Bigfoot and nobody really has the evidence. Some of it's stories, some of it's physical evidence, but like some of it is just kind of a gut on the person and how much activity they have or how much they say they're having. So to me, it's like, if I can tell they're honest people and they seem good to work with, and they seem like it's like at least some level of frequency, not I saw a Bigfoot in 1984 and it came back again, right? Something that's like at least, I don't know, 3 or 4 times a year at least, like they have some kind of frequency. That's kind of what I'm looking for. And then the rest is kind of, again, it's the right people to work with that have been affected by the topic enough to where they want to know that their experiences are real. So that's why I try to find those perfect people to work with, or solid people that I think have integrity and honesty, and someone that's not going to get mad at me and just throw all my stuff in the trash or in the river one day.
Yeah, no doubt.
But yeah, I mean, that's what I've been trying to do. And I know Les has had activities in his areas. So that's why I was like, hey, you're trying to figure out Bigfoot. I'm trying to figure out Bigfoot. Let's work together. You know a ton more people than I do. Like, I'm trying to like build a network of this system. So more or less, I have a ton of respect for Les and his approach to Bigfoot and the whole subject. I don't think you're going to get a more credible, well-known person that's interested in the topic than Les Stroud.
Right.
And that has at least respect for survival and nature and has an open-mindedness. So that's really where I wanted to work with Les and see if he'd be.
He has an open-mindedness to walk around and visit his bird feeders and bring that shit and put it on the plate, and that was our salad. I was eating it. I was looking outside. I was like, hold up.
Yeah. So no, I'm with you on that. But I'd love to get a few more locations in the northwest, so maybe even like New Mexico, Oklahoma, someplace in the south. Be cool to have some Florida, Georgia. To me, there's so many sightings. It'd be cool to have, it's spread out. Canada too. I've got 2 sites in Canada now.
Well, where do you plan on going with this? Like, what's the end game? How many cameras you plan on having out? And
I mean, it scales with right now. I could probably afford 1 more site on my end, and then the rest would just have to scale with people that are actively trying to help and contribute, because
right.
I've got a wife and 3 kids, and I technically I'm anyway, it's a long story on the background, but I'm basically just self-funding everything. I've never asked anyone for a penny. I've never done a Kickstarter. I've never done any of that GoFundMe stuff. So really,
I think the best thing that will do for you is some better PR, because like I had no idea this existed before the trip. Like Les told me about it, and that was all. I'd never heard about it. And from the sounds of the chats here, a lot of them people ain't heard about it either. So I think over time, you know, you do some bigger podcasts and get on some bigger channels and stuff like that. I think over time you'll build up. But also on that note, I can think of like 2 places that you should definitely have a camera. Like there's a spot in West Virginia, and I'll send you the guys' episodes you can listen to. And I'm going to have him back on because he just sent me a bunch of other stuff while we were in Canada. And he's a retired cop. He's like a little league coach or something like that. Very respectable guy. And this place that he's at, there's been activity going on there for 100 years at least, just because of the news stories in that town and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't know. Obviously, you know, you'll hear stuff from people all the time, I'm sure. But I think this is going to build, man. I think this is going to be. I think especially after you start to catch stuff.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yep. And I mean, it's kind of by design a little bit, but like I said, the more eyes, the better. Because I'll sit there and review footage like 2 hours a day on my own, and it's time consuming. So I've found tons of stuff doing that though, and if the more people looking at these hotspots with open-mindedness and like, you know, looking at through all the data, the better, in my opinion, because I'll admit I can't do it on my own, right? There's just too much. So I'm trying to build that platform for people to go and really look at this and have all the data and like have it super open and be like, hey, you want, if you really want, I can send you a whole day's worth of footage and you can download it yourself and you can go dig at it as much as you want. Like just send me a note. I'll send it to you. I don't care.
Yeah. That's the problem. Like this one property, we've got all these audio recorders out. So how are we going to go through all this shit, man?
Yeah,
you're talking 31 days of audio times the number of recorders.
I can take your audio and run it through some of my algorithms and find I can at least break it down into a subset of interesting stuff for you, right?
Right.
It may not catch everything. That's the catch-all, but it'll at least make it to where it's tangible to go look through it. That's the problem that everybody has. Like, I'm going to put all this stuff out, but how do I review it all? So I'm trying to solve that problem at the same time.
Like AI or something.
Yeah, that's kind of like the event-driven architecture, the events, and then like flagging all the interesting anomalies, and then going down that route, and then I don't know. I'm just gonna make it better. I'm really only a year into some of that stuff, so I can make it better.
Right.
It's really about getting it out there, and then me having the energy to put all my focus into it. Because right now I'm putting focus into 5 other things at the same time, and I'd love to have all the energy into Bigfoot. So we'll see, but you know, if you build it, they will come, right? I'm trying.
Hey, brother, you know, I'm glad you're trying. It's what the community needs. Unfortunately, if this thing is something paranormal, I think you're going to be hard pressed to catch it on film. But if it's not, and it's just some type of human or ape, you know, eventually that will also pay off. It doesn't mean it's going to be any easier. This is Bigfoot we're talking about, right?
Yeah, I'm with you. Hopefully it's something tangible that's not something we have to restructure everything around. But I mean, I've got ideas.
That's what I hope to do, because I want to prove the shit, man. You know, but there's so much weird stuff that goes on out in the woods. You know, the orbs could be anything. They could be ghosts. They could be some type of spirits. They don't have to be Bigfoot, just like they're not associated with the deer. But there's weird things where they just show up on the porch and you don't know how they got there.
Yep. It doesn't make any sense. So I'm with you. I mean, the fun thing about it is it's a mystery that everybody can get involved and try to figure out, right? If somebody, I always say this, if somebody is using my app and finds something significant, I'll give them all the credit. It can be their footage. I'll call it the TED footage. Whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't care. Like, I'm not about like, hey, I did it. I'm here trying to provide a platform for people to help figure it out. I don't need the glory. I think I told you this. I'd rather be Batman.
Yeah.
And do a lot of work and to get no credit.
Right.
But
well, you know, I think it's trending in the right direction. And once a community gets around it, you know what I mean? Because you could really use like my chat community here. Really good. These people are here every single episode talking to each other. I think you need something like that built. You know what I'm saying? So that way people could discuss the things they found, or, hey, this audio sounded weird. What do the rest of y'all think? You know what I mean? Build a conversation with them, because all these people are into Bigfoot. They all want to help. They all want to research, but there's things like health issues that stop it. There's things like money that stop people from getting out, you know, and you can get on this thing for cheaper than getting on Netflix. You know what I'm saying? And it's something you're interested in, and you're actually a part of the investigation, because the worst thing I would think is that you do capture that footage and nobody ever sees it, or nobody ever knows that you captured it. It's just on there.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I worry about too. Like, what am I missing? Right.
Right.
But yeah, yeah, it's definitely built for mass consumption. I've tried to build it to scale. So I think I could, I have nowhere near these numbers, just to be like totally open, but I built it to scale to like 200,000 people watching one stream at a time.
Oh, wow.
So it's using the same architecture that Netflix and Amazon uses on the back end for streaming technology. And I've tried to like make it super, I'm a reliability engineer, so I tried to make it like solid enough to where if enough people got interested, it wouldn't break the system. But that's just my background. Like I said, it's built for that functionality. It's nowhere near it's nowhere near that much users, but it's definitely there.
Right. Well, so, okay. You told me one of the weirdest damn stories I've ever heard in my life. And it happened at Radium.
Yep.
So Todd's spot. Do you mind sharing that story?
Yeah, for sure. So the second time I went out there, I really wanted to scale the mountain that Survivor Man went up, and I wanted to see where he put the apples and the Cliff Bars. I wanted to see how rugged it was. I wanted to see for myself what that was about. And I'm kind of like the youngest in my family. So my sister's oldest kid is only 6 years younger than me. So he's pretty much like a little brother, to be fair, but he's my nephew. But he's adventurous. I got him to go out there with me. So it was me, my nephew's name is Keaton, and the other guy went out the first time, Craig. He also went out for a second time with us, and we get along really great. They get along really great. It was a good environment. But basically, we had to. We picked a couple of days there to go scout this mountaintop because it was in June, but kind of like where we were at recently, like the winter was just not going away still. So there was still a lot of snow on top of the mountain. So we were debating on, we had to go scout this area and make sure we could get up it, and there wasn't a lot of snow load up there. So that's what we did the first, I'd say 2 or 3 days into the trip out there. We went and scouted this mountain. And it's a good 2-hour hike in to get to the base of the mountain before you go up. So you got to hike for like 2 hours. It's like stop and go, and you cross some streams and you cross some stuff. It's kind of burns your legs, but it's not unhandleable. But it's so we're doing that. We're doing that scouting mission, and just to fast forward a little bit, and then I'll come back to the scouting mission. So when we finally did get up the mountain, my nephew was like super, like he had such anxiety up there, and he was freaked out, and he went up the mountain fine. But when he got up there, it was probably 6 p.m. at night. The sun was still out, and like he was just losing his shit up there, right? Like he was freaked out. He wanted to basically just sit there. He probably would have gone back down if we let him. But he was up against this big, huge tree that basically on the other side of a tree is the cliff, and it's this old down tree. And he was pretty much perched up against that tree the entire time he was there. And he was pretty open with me. Like, he's like, I'm freaking out. So he had a lot of anxiety when we actually got up there and went up there and did the whole spend the night up there on the side of this cliffside. But so just to preference that, I didn't really know why he was that way. But on the scouting mission to go up there, and we looked at it, and we went on the way back down from that 2-hour hike. He didn't tell me this at first. The only thing he said was after before we went up the mountain, he asked me before we went, he's like, hey, is Todd telling you like the whole story for this place? I said, yeah, I don't know. What do you mean? He's like, well, is he just telling you everything about this location, this area? And I'm like, yeah, he's pretty open with me. It's transparent. I don't really know. Like, what are you referencing? He's like, oh, just nothing. I'm just making sure he's telling you everything. And I didn't really know why he asked me that question until later when all this came up after this whole experience. But like on the way back down from the scouting thing, he and I didn't know this until after the expedition. My sister called me and said, hey, you need to talk to Keaton. He had some weird shit happen out there. He didn't tell you. So I was like, okay. So I call him up. So on the way, he's telling me this story. On the way back from this scouting thing, he looks up on the cliffside on the left side of him, probably 50 feet up. And there's this, he described it as something with a goat face and green body and the arms of a mantis, right? And he drew a picture of it. He's an artist afterwards. So he had enough mental acuity about it to draw a picture of it afterwards. And it looked really freaky looking. And I was like, so he said it came out of like, and kind of peeked at him and came out of like the wood line and was looking at him and kind of just looked at him and stared at him real hard and came back and went back into the woods, right? And I'm just like, why didn't you tell me this? He's like, I don't know. I thought you think I was crazy. And I was like, we're looking for Bigfoot, man. We're all crazy.
Right.
So it just really freaked him out. So when he went up the mountain, he was totally freaked out. He thought this thing was coming at him. Like it was going to come for him at night. It was going to drag him off the mountain, And I'm just like, I haven't ever heard of it. I think if you Google it, you can find some stuff I know there's mantis alien stuff, but like, it's been a while since I've looked it up, but I think there are stories of something similar of that nature. So I don't know what he saw, but he had a weird experience out there. And that was one of the times I really didn't have anything happen. So I don't know. This is his story. This is his perspective. I didn't see it, but I wouldn't call him a liar ever. There's no reason for him to lie to me about it. He didn't publicly say it to anyone, right? It's just his experience and what he saw out there. So I don't have any reason to disbelieve him. All I have is a drawing and a story.
That those lights that Les saw also on the top of that mountain, right? It makes you wonder, because like I have this whole theory that the aliens are living in the ocean and living in certain like mountains, right? I believe maybe they have bases or something like that. And I just wonder, man, like, are the Bigfoot ended up being connected to that? Because you've got this creature here going on, you've got the strange lights, and then you've got the Bigfoots being seen there. You know, so who knows? I think in 100 years, or once alien disclosure, if we ever get it, if that actually comes out, I have a slight feeling that Bigfoot will be involved in that in some way or another.
It could be. I try to keep an open mind, right? I don't try to dismiss people blindly. I try to listen to them and figure out their story. So I don't like to blindly judge people. Sometimes you figure out some people are a little out there after you get to know them, but you know, everybody has opportunity to prove what they saw or tell me their story, and you know, it is what it is. People see what they see, and I can't say they're lying about it. So,
right.
But yeah, that's just one of the weirder things that happened out there. But yeah, definitely a weird story.
Yeah, that's strange, man. Well, brother, before I let you go, where can people get the app? I've had, I don't know, maybe 7 people say they've just downloaded it.
Yeah, it's on the Apple Store. It's on Android too. Trying to make it for both, for the Apple haters. But I've got a website people can go to, bigfootlivestream.org. It's got some abbreviated stuff on the app, and it has some links to the app. But just go search on your app stores for Bigfoot Livestream. It'll pop up. Just download it, check it out. I tried to put some functionality in for people to get like a 60-second view of some of the feeds. Like I said, the Radium one, it's down. One of the feeds that you get the preview for Radium is down right now until I get that component fixed. So that one may not work, but the other one definitely will on the thermal. And I mean, if anything, it's $5. If you hate it, you can unsubscribe and be done with it, right?
Right.
You're not really losing much of your money there, but yeah, any kind of support or feedback, enhancements, anyone that wants to reach out to me, if they have a active site or if they know someone that does that I can talk to, super open to talking to anybody. All my contact stuff's inside the app itself, so all the links are there, the contact stuff, the social stuff. So if you just want to contact me, you don't have to subscribe. Just go download the app and you can figure out all my contact information. It's all in there.
Right on. Well, brother, I believe in what you're doing, man. And I'm going to push it as hard as I can, to help you out, because I think it's important, dude. And I think more people, the more eyes on that equipment, because if nobody's watching the equipment, like I said, that a big, huge piece of the puzzle might never be witnessed.
Yep. Yeah. And we've never done an experiment like that before. What if there's always something on all the time?
Right. Well, nobody's had the funding, brother. And I know you're sinking your own money into this, and that's what it's needed, bro. Is the subject needs actual somebody that can do stuff like this in there, because without it, we're just a bunch of weekend warriors,
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough one. Like, I feel like there's so many places that have Bigfoot stuff all over the place. There's so many people that are like, yeah, that's cool, but I mean, this is like my segue into, hey, you think it's cool? Let's go figure it out.
Right.
But yeah, I'm with you. And again, I super appreciate you having me on, Stacy.
Hey, bud.
I got to know you. You're a great guy. You're funny as hell.
Speaking of funny, I figured out why my belly was hurting, and it was because we were laughing so much. Because as soon as I got back home, no more pain. But I swear that was I think if some of the off-camera conversations were filmed, that would be better than the stuff that was on camera.
Yeah, we had a lot of cool conversations for sure.
You know. But brother, I'll be in touch with you, man. You got to talk to this guy in West Virginia, and I want to talk to you about, helping you promote this thing, man, getting the word out there.
Yeah, I super appreciate it.
All right, brother. Well, hey, man, I appreciate you coming on, and till I talk to you, take care.
All right, have a good one.
Later, bro. All right, everybody. And that was Logan from the Bigfoot Livestream App. I'm not like just blowing smoke, he was a cool guy to hang out with, but I really believe that what he's got going on there is going to get something eventually. It may not be in 6 months, it may not be in 2 years, because we're also talking about Bigfoot, but it's the best shot we have right now in the Bigfoot community. And this man has put up all this money himself. Like, you're talking a dozen cameras, and they're all looking about like 15 apiece, 15,000 apiece. So, that's crazy. It's awesome that that's happening. Okay, I'm going to switch my headphones over. And I am going to open the lines, right? You want to... I was going to talk about Harry Man Load calling me out, calling me a scammer for doing expeditions, but I think let me just pass on that. How about that? I don't like to throw fire at people I can't physically be around, but the lines are open now. So if anybody for the last hour and 13 minutes, if y'all want to call in, share your stories, let me put the call-in number on. There we go. Call in 850-695-0522. If you got questions, if you just got a story, you want to give some feedback about about Logan, and the stuff we talked about tonight, please do so. The lines are open. Now is your time to call in and tell your story. So we got an hour and 15 minutes, damn near it. And I've been sucking down some water, people. I put off a damn some mouth surgery I got to have done to go to Canada, and my tooth is killing me. It is on. The phone is on, Rhonda. But yeah, it's I'm gonna have that done Friday. Thing is killing me. But I had to put it off to go to Canada, and then I got an interview I'm doing tomorrow for my new podcast, Still Here. I can't wait to get that stuff out. Really, really cool. But here in the upcoming future, we have my documentary about the Canada trip to Temagami. Temagami, I think is how you say it. That's going to be out. We're going to get that out. Also, interviews with Robert from Cabin in the Woods. Another interview with Les. So some stuff coming, over the next few weeks. Also, we are going to have a live stream hunt one Friday night out at the film site. I was going to do it for the anniversary of my dad's footage, which was the other night, on the 8th, May 8th, but I was in Canada, so couldn't get to it. But we're going to have that later this month. Still trying to figure out the weekend. We're going to go out to Torreya, and Richie B from Banter with Richie B, he will be hosting it. And he's going to bounce back and forth between the teams that are out in the park Bigfooting as they go. You know, and do their stuff through the night. It'll probably be like a 3-hour hunt. And the only thing I'm worried about are the technical difficulties, because, like, for those of you who tuned into the live stream that we had up in Canada, it was working. I tested it, and then I switched. I took and plugged a battery bank into the end of my phone. And the end of my phone, and somehow that cut the audio off. So the first, like, 50 minutes of that broadcast, there was no audio. And I can't get up from my seat and check on it, but then something just told me, get up and check on it. And I got up and checked on it, and there's no audio, and everybody's complaining. I'm like, oh my God. And then, like, some people have, like, went to other videos still complaining about it days later. It's like, golly, people trying to do a good thing and let y'all see what we had going on. You know, it ain't like Les wasn't streaming it as well. You could just go over to his channel. But I did get it up eventually. You know, it's just when you're working by yourself, you don't have a team, those things can happen, and they usually do. You know, but with the live stream, I'm going to go out there and do like a cell test, possibly just like a dry run. You know, to make sure it's all going to work right. But yeah, I think that'd be cool. You know, a live Bigfoot hunt. Something we haven't did here on the show before. So, also, I am now working for the Cabin in the Woods YouTube channel, doing research for topics and editing videos for Robert. His channel's grown to a size that he's got stuff he's trying to do and needed some help, and I was there to help. So, working on a video right now. It's going great. I can't wait to start pushing out some of that content. He does a really good job, you know, speaking, right? Like, so when he talks to people, I think a person like him coming across to a skeptic seems far better than a person like me, right? Okay, so Mammoth Cave, we got a question about that. Okay, will you be able to get spots for the Mammoth Cave expedition? Yes, you will, Rhonda. However, it may not be at Mammoth Cave. It may be in the Red River Gorge. We are looking at campsites that can accommodate a large group of people, you know. So we got a call right now. Oh, hold on. Hold on real quick, bro. It's not connected. Let's see here. Come on. Why is it not connected, bro? And I did not test this, but I did check and it said connected. So let's see now. You're on the Bigfoot Underground. Can you hear me?
What's up, brother?
How are you doing, my friend?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
Doing all right, brother. Better than I deserve, you know?
Look, I was going to tell you, I caught your videos from up there with Les. Really, really enjoyed it. It sucks that you didn't catch the first hour of that, but I rewatched Les's, and he was speaking my language, getting into that fringe stuff. I like it.
Yeah, you know, we had a very open group of people, like different backgrounds. So like you had Logan, who he leans more towards it's something you know, like an ape. Then you had Robert, who really doesn't know. He's experienced both sides, right? And like we all couldn't be further from each other, right? Like Robert believes patty film is real, don't, you know. So there was a lot of debate and stuff going on, but I'm gonna tell you, because especially we had O'Neill there, and O'Neill believes he has a psychic connection with the creatures, but it was respectable. You know what I mean? And I said to everybody, and I'll probably say this in my video, we all can't, sometimes the gifts you get from Bigfoot aren't a sighting, but the like brotherhood that was formed there. Like I'll be friends with those guys for the rest of my life. We're talking about meeting up every year and doing that, you know. And because the conversation, bro, I hadn't been in those type of conversations. Usually I'm around people that kind of believe the same way I do, or, you know, we just don't get into conversations like that. And you can, you know, with Robert in the conversation and Les, they kind of bring out the questions and keep the conversation going. But it was great,
I love the way Les, you know, he engages and he's listening to answers after he asks the question, you know, the same way you do, and you're engaged in what you're interested in, what people have to say, and the conversation you guys had is healthy. It's great to have conversations like that, and I wish people could have them more often without it escalating into an argument. With, you know.
That's my dream, right? My dream eventually is to have a large group of people in one area looking for Bigfoot, and everybody doing their own belief system. And we can all, like, because we can still have a good time, guys. You know what I'm saying? We can still respect each other's beliefs and ask, like, I had to ask, why do you believe that? Just tell me. I'm just interested, right? I'm not saying you're wrong, because I'm going to tell you right now, if it turns out I'm right, we have a problem, bro. Like, I'm the dumbass out of the group. I shouldn't be, you know, in there leading the class by no means. So somebody else, in my opinion, somebody else's, you know, ideas and thoughts on the subject are probably going to be correct before mine will. And just the conversation, bro, because we talked shit that first night we all got there at Les's house on the back porch. We probably talked till 4:30 in the morning. And,
oh man, those are the best conversations too.
Yeah, dude. And I'm over there freezing my ass off, and it was just fun, you know. And we all said afterwards, I was like, man, we should have recorded that.
Yeah, you should have had something running the whole time.
Because once everybody got comfortable with everybody, it almost turned in like a therapy session. Everybody was like opening up, like saying shit, you know, and it's like, oh, okay, hey, we're in a, you know, and kind of what,
you know, it was like that on the little expedition you put together for us, because once we got to know each other, sat around and started talking to each other and just opening up, and we had a great time, just the fellowship of it.
Yeah, you know, and that's the good thing about it. Like, if Bigfoot could do that for people, and let's just say I'm a skeptic looking at the Bigfoot community. Like, we had one in the chat earlier who was trolling everybody. You know, if people, if you're looking at it from a skeptic, if it's bringing people together, They're not doing nothing bad. Who fucking cares if Bigfoot ain't real? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like these people are, they're making friends. They're doing something right. They're being kind to each other. Right?
Exactly. And it's people from all walks of life too. People you wouldn't. I mean, I work in a warehouse and done physical labor most of my life, and we're out there hanging with scientists, and people professional who work in the oil field, and just all different kind of trades. But it's bringing all of them together for one common goal to prove its existence.
Right. And I just wish there was more of that. I wish the Bigfoot community was like that, but unfortunately it's not, and it never will be. It's a pipe dream of mine, but I hope one day that it can be like that, because even for that moment in time, I forgot all about my problems. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was a moment in time that it never happened again. And it was awesome.
Exactly.
So
living in the moment, that's what it's for.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
So listen, did you film any of the experience you had, the camping, or when are we going to see this stuff that happened in Canada?
Well, it is going to be soon. I would say maybe in a month, because I want to make sure it's a good, engaging product that I put out. But I filmed a lot, and then I'm also privy to all of Les's footage that he filmed. I'm also privy to all the stuff Robert filmed. So, and that's what you're going to see in the 3 different pieces of content that get come out. Like, you'll probably see something in mine that's also in Robert's. And you'll probably see something in Robert's or mine that ends up in Les's film. Because it was just like, hey, we're all filming. We've got all the footage together, and it's just, hey, y'all use what you want. That's the cool thing about Les, is he allowed us to use the footage from, his cameras, because he could be like, hey, I'm putting a documentary out. Y'all can't make yours. But no, I get to tell my side of the story while I'm there for the making of the documentary. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the thing. As much as we want to see Les's documentary, we want to see the behind the scenes stuff too.
Yeah. And so this week, I'm going to, probably this weekend, I'll stick up a video of where Les explained to me what happened at the cabin and why we are there. Right. It was kind of a walk and talk. It was about 15 minutes, I just kind of had him explaining it. Other than that, it's going to be me, one camera, interviewing myself like YouTube style as I'm going out in the woods and doing different things. But the one thing that happened was the last night we were there. And I can't tell you what it is, but it happened when we had the cameras turned off.
Oh, of course. I hate that.
That's the problem.
The experience, having the experience, though, is fantastic. But not being able to prove your experience, it's
yeah.
But hey, you have full witness.
Well, I was sitting there with Les. We had this encounter at the end of the night while we were sitting on a damn, because I went out and did my whole thing. Right, I'm playing my singing bowl, did some whoops, did some knocks. And then Les is like, hey, let me walk you to the lookout. And we're on like this peninsula. And he takes me to this lookout, and there's like a bench there, and you can sit in this beautiful view over this lake. And damn near every star in the sky. And we sit there for 30, 40 minutes. Bullshitting about everything but Bigfoot. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about life. We're talking about music. We're talking about whatever, just hanging out. And then we have this experience, but the cameras are off. And as we're having the experience, we're like, hey, You know this is going on right now? I'm like, oh yeah, that's still going on. We keep talking, right? I can't wait to get all that out to you. But that was strange. And so now you have to figure it out as to how do you translate something that didn't happen on to people people that are watching something. You know, how do you do that? And I don't know. I've got to think of a way, but I got some really cool footage, and I think everybody's gonna enjoy it, man. I really think so.
Right on. Can't wait to see it. Well, I'm gonna hop off. I just want to say, hey.
All right, brother. Well, yeah, man. I will talk to you this week. Okay. We got something we planned.
Right on. Hit me up.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. So a little bit of tease there about what just happened in Canada. The people that were calling that I had to ignore, you may call back now. 850-695-0522. If you got an encounter, if you got a question, if you want to tell me about the conjoined twin that you have stuck to the side of your face, I want to know about it. Call me, 850-695-0522. All right, here we go. I believe this number's called before. You're on the Bigfoot Underground.
I'm so going to tell you about your ass. You do realize that, right?
What's that?
I said, I'm so going to tell you about your ass right now. You know that, right?
Oh, yeah, sure. Go ahead.
You know who this is?
This is Earl.
Windwalker. What's
this
up?
is Windwalker. My bad. You sound just like Earl, bro.
Yes, Lord. Dude.
Well,
not even 2 months ago. Listen to me. Not even 2 months ago, I'm sitting here asking you, oh, dude, have you listened to the Cabin in the Woods? You know, dude, you got to check this out. How in the hell does a person go from not knowing something even exists to sitting at a campfire with them in Canada with Les Stroud, for God's sake?
Hey, brother, I don't know how the hell this shit works either, dude. It just does. So,
good Lord.
I didn't try. I didn't even know Robert was going on the trip. And I tell you, man, like, everybody out there hit it off, you know what I'm saying? But it was cool to pick his brain, you know, and go over stuff. I got a sneak peek of a few things. He's got a book coming out. Sounds really good from the first chapter that I got to hear that he read to us at the campfire. But yeah, dude.
Yes, dude, you blew my mind with all that. I just couldn't believe it. 2 months ago, you haven't listened to Robert's stuff, and now you guys are like best friends, and you're killing me.
Yeah, now I'm working with him. So, you know, it was strange because when you were first telling me, there was a lot of people like, check out Cabin in the Woods, check out Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin in the Woods.
And I thought y'all were talking about that fucking stupid ass horror film.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, what the fuck are they talking about?
That is so
Why are
crazy,
they mentioning? So I didn't pay attention. I didn't want to get into that. I was like, I don't want to go back and forth about this stupid ass horror film because I hate that film. It's actually a very shitty film and it pisses me off because they had a good budget.
Oh God.
But then you see it and so when I finally figured it out, you know, and here we are just a few months. The only reason I had him on the show was because everybody wanted to hear from him.
Wow. That's crazy.
So, well, yeah, but we're working on.
Dude, I'm so jealous. I'm so fucking jealous that you got to make that trip. I had no idea you were even going.
Well, you weren't listening to the show, bro, because I was telling people.
It must have been one of the nights I missed.
You missed a few weeks.
Wow.
You missed a couple weeks, and you know, everybody in the chat's like, "What's up with Wind? Where's he at? I hope he's okay." So I'm like sending you texts. Are you all right, brother? Because like when one of y'all don't show up, everybody else gets concerned.
Right. Yeah, Amy wasn't there. Chris wasn't there tonight. We're missing a couple tonight.
Yeah, you know.
So,
but
wow.
yeah, brother, it's.
Well, I guess I hate you got sick, man, but I sure am. I'm in you, so I'm glad you got to go and talk to the guys and go to Les's place, man. That's just awesome.
Yeah, well, we
That's
also
just awesome.
didn't sleep a lot, right? So like I'm freezing my ass off. Well, we tried to stay up one day and I couldn't make it. I slept like an hour and a half, and then we went to a hotel and slept in the hotel for like 2 hours and got a shower,
Wow.
and then we're back at it till like 4 a.m. again. And you know that, and also like I never really smoked a proper cigar before, and O'Neill had cigars, so I was smoking. What were they called? Damn it, I don't remember the name.
Cohiba?
No, they were like Schroeder's or something like that.
Oh my God! No wonder your stomach didn't feel good.
They were good, bro. They were good, man. And I'm sitting here with a Zen in my mouth, smoking a cigar. And I'm like, all right, I'm lightheaded now. I got to chill out, you know. But when you make a trip like that, you don't sleep a lot, and you're in the damn cold. I came back blowing Canada out my nose. I'm still blowing it out today. So.
My Lord.
Oh, and
it was worth
the craziest shit.
Worth it.
The craziest shit. I'm at the Toronto airport, and I'm sitting there looking at cold medicine, and Cuba Gooding Jr. walks up beside me.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
He's looking at cold medicine too, and I'm like, bro. I'm like, what the fuck is just happening right now? So I know people kind of, yeah, it was wild, man. It was wild, and the worst thing about it is
we're all looking forward to seeing all the behind the scenes and hearing all about it, man. I know you had a great time, and that's awesome. I'm glad you got to spend time with the guys. That's awesome.
Yeah, bro. And I'll have all that out in the coming weeks. I got an episode I'm dropping this Friday that a lady and her husband, and you're going to love this shit. I'm so glad you called so I could tell it to you. They filmed, they got on thermal what I believe is a dog man. Yep.
What?
Yeah. Hey, I don't fucking know, dude. Like, if this is a dog man, this is the only piece of evidence of dog man. But whatever they filmed is a real thing, and you'll have to see it, man, because they didn't know. They were just driving a truck out in the LBL and stopped and seen something and just started filming it. And there's some frames where it looks like it's an upright dog, and then there's some other frames where it looks like there's like 3 of them, and they're huge. So,
well, that'd be the damn place for it, I guess.
I guess so, brother. But yeah, man, I'm gonna have all that after that. Probably the following week, I'll drop a new interview with Les. He'll update everybody in that interview on the question of Bigfoot, where it's at and stuff like that. And, you know, I seen some clips of it, some things he was doing with it, and this fucking Bigfoot film is going to blow everybody out of the water.
Oh, God. Well, shoot, dude, we've been waiting on our stuff for over a year now.
Oh, yeah.
He put out a bunch of like posters and stuff. We're still waiting on even to get all that stuff, but we had to get in on it.
It's coming. So it's coming. The man's got he's trying to do a lot for a it's really, he doesn't have like a bunch of people working for him, you know. So he needs a team.
All right, brother. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better, and good to have you back home.
Yeah, brother. I will talk to you soon, homie.
All right, see you, man.
Bye. All right. I'm going to go back, open the lines of Windwalker now. You are exactly correct, Tank Therapy. Dogman is why I do not want to go to the LBL. You know, I make all kinds of excuses for that shit. And what do you do with that? Like a Bigfoot, I can understand to some degree, but a dogman, werewolf. There's already a name. We don't have to call it dogman. We call it werewolf. Who wants to be around that? Not me. But yeah, I did see some clips from his new film, and I'm telling you, people, y'all gonna be, and the fact that I'm in it blows my mind. Okay, got another call. Werewolf. You are on the Bigfoot Underground.
Sorry, already named. We don't have to call it dog man. We call it werewolf.
Hello.
Hey,
How you doing?
how you doing?
Doing all right.
So this is Tracy.
Okay, how you doing?
I have a dog man story, and I have a zillion of my own stories, but because you mentioned dog man, I'm going to tell you a story that I heard because it's the only thing I have not seen.
Okay. Well, do lay it on us.
Okay. Well, my ex was standing at his garage in the dark, smoking a cigarette, and under the lamplight, this is in northern Wisconsin on the reservation. Under lamplight, he sees a fox come out of the dark, and he sees the fox come under the lamp, and it looks both directions, up and down the road that he lives on. Whew. And then it keeps going, or it makes a yip, he said. It made a yip, and it kept going, and behind him was a gigantic dog man. And they crossed the road and took off into the woods across the street.
Where was this?
So it had a fox as lookout.
Do you think it was his lookout, or do you think he was going to eat him?
Well, from the way it made it sound, it was like it was the lookout, and then it yipped. And then they crossed, and it was so big, it was like, half the size of the road or what have you.
I 100% hope you're correct, because I don't want him eating no fox. The fox are so nice.
Well, I don't want to see no dog man, that's for sure.
Mm-mm. Where did this happen at?
Northern Wisconsin.
Northern Wisconsin. Damn, y'all got a bunch of dog man reports up there. That's
yeah, Michigan.
Yeah.
Actually, I bought property up there in Michigan, and the thought of being up there, because it's like a hot spot, I don't know that I want to be up there, by myself in the woods up there.
Right. Yeah, I can't imagine going out after, like, that's the goal, is to get close to one of these things. Like, why would you want to do that?
There's like there's got to be, in between too many humans and too much of that. So, yeah.
Right.
Okay, thank you, Stacy.
Oh, hey, no. Do you have another story you want to share? Bigfoot?
Oh,
maybe?
well, like which? Bigfoot? Yes. Let me catch my breath. I'm nervous about this kind of stuff.
Don't be nervous. Everybody listening here wants to hear it, so no reason to be nervous.
Oh, well, I emailed you about this a couple days ago. I was in northern. I'm from Southern California. I was a Valley girl, so I'm, was used to the Valley.
Right.
So I knew nothing of this stuff. The first thing I heard of Bigfoot was in the early 70s when my father was watching TV, and it was the Gilman footage was on TV. I remember, and there's something I got to say about that actually, because I remember distinctly a view when we watched it on TV, when I watched it with him on TV back in the early 70s when I was really small, that I've never seen again. And it was way up next to him and looking like parallel through the woods. And I've never seen that view of footage in my adult life, which is really interesting, which I kind of agree with you. It's never felt genuine to me.
Right.
Anyway, so I'm in North Idaho. I went from Colorado to North Idaho in the Panhandle, Sandpoint area. And I'm in one of many cabins, but I was in this one particular cabin that was just up from a creek where you don't walk around. If you walk around up there, you get shot. Even if your dog gets, into someone's yard, not yard, but property, it could get shot. So it's an area that you would not be walking around in a suit for damn sure.
Right.
So anyway, so I had just moved up there, and I'm paranoid. And I had put up cameras, and they were only up for like 2 weeks, and I had 4 cameras, and one was facing out the back of the house, one was the driveway, and I caught a glimpse of my neighbors coming down the driveway, and I'm like, well, who's my neighbors? I've never seen anybody, and they're like up the road. This is rural Idaho, very like if you've heard of Priest Lake and all that, pretty much like that. And so I go to my monitor, and there's four pictures, and I'm watching my neighbors come down the driveway, which are 2 teens, and I'm seeing them come down the driveway. And what catches my eye is the other screen, and I see this thing walk past the camera. I walk past the fence, and it's the fence. I went outside, and the fence is 6 foot tall, and it was at least like 1.5 foot taller than that. And it was matted red from the side with its head dipped forward. And my first thought was how sad looking, because its head was tilted forward. It looked like, a kid with his hoodie all the way forward, so you can't see the face, and he's walking sideways, like sad, like his head's forward. That's the impression I first got, and it was all matted, short red hair. And I'm a trained police officer, and so my first instinct kicked in, and I ran to my shotgun, which was by the front door, which I grabbed, and I looked out. The front door had 2 side windows, and I looked out the window, and I never saw it go across the area, the yard, or whatever you want to call it, the area out there. I never saw it cross into the forest, because it would have to come. It's road, creek, uphill, house, open area, then woods. So it was coming up and away from the creek and over into the woods as the boys were coming down the driveway towards the creek. So it was kind of like leaving as they were coming. And I never saw it go anywhere. So I moved away from the front door, and I went into the living room, and my brain was sparkling. It was like sparkles. It was trying to take the picture out of my head, is literally the way it felt. And I was like I was picturing it, and I could see it. And I literally felt like I was fighting with something to hold on to the image in my head. And I won. It took it was like 20, 30 seconds of that, and I won. I did not let that image go. And that's it. I didn't go outside. I was not scared to go out before, because I had a camera, and I like to film stuff. And anyway, I didn't go out after that. Then I called the not missing 411, but the Can-Am project. I called, and I talked to them for like an hour.
Yeah.
And it really, at the time, it felt like they were coming really close. I felt like, geez, they're getting pretty close, aren't they? But of course, I was in the middle of nowhere. So.
Right. Yeah, that can be a reason to make you want to move back to the city.
Well, I'm in northern Wisconsin now, and out here I've seen an orb. There's like colorful orbs in the sky. So,
right.
Well, thank you for listening to my story.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll call in another time and give you a different one.
Hey, that sounds good. Whenever you want to, we're always here on Wednesdays.
Oh, awesome! A new home. Thanks, Stacy.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
All right. That is wild. See, that's the downside about living in the country, people. You got to deal with the wildlife. The phones are back open, 850-695-0522. We got about 36 minutes left. We'll go to 11. It's 10:24. unless nobody calls in. And then I'll probably wrap it up early. But we're here till 11. I'm not going nowhere. Even though it's now starting to get hot in my garage. I guess I'm going to have to get me like a window banger or something for this, because our place where we, like our den where we have our daycare, doesn't cool that well. So I took my game room, which is where I'm at, the garage / game room. I took the window unit out of here and put it in there, so the kids wouldn't be sweating bullets all day. But now I'm sweating bullets. Sacrifices must be made, people. Sacrifices must be made. But yeah, I think it's the Red River Gorge area in Kentucky. I'm aiming to have this one in Kentucky. We wanted to do a kayak expedition where people would kayak and be able to camp along the river and Bigfoot that area and whatnot, but I guess I could have a meetup. That's about it. All right, we got another call. Let's see who is. You're on the Bigfoot Underground.
Hey man, how you doing tonight?
Doing all right, brother. How about yourself?
I'm hanging right in there, brother.
Yeah, what can we...
Hey, I just wanted to call in. I saw that video you guys got together with that group, man. I think it was an awesome deal. I know you guys had to have a blast.
Oh, up in Canada, the live stream?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It was a good time, brother. It really was.
Well, and honestly, I heard you say that most of you had differing opinions. I think it's freaking great, man.
Yeah,
that
dude.
People with different opinions can actually get together and have a reasonable discussion about things.
Yeah, you know, we all had different opinions about everything, right? And
yeah, and it's healthy, man. It really is. I mean, that just. I think the people that are involved with this subject could learn a lot from that, and people need to tend to work and pull together to move forward on this deal.
You know, and well, I think the biggest thing was the baseline agreement for everybody was that we don't know what's going on. You know, well, at least O'Neill, he thought he had this. He believes he had this psychic connection, but he also believed that not all Bigfoots had it. And then, you know, he talked about why it won't happen with everybody. So, you know, it was a once in a lifetime thing, man. I've never really been in that diverse of a group, and then to have because we were all miserable together too. Like, don't get it twisted. It sucked out there. Like it was cold. You know, there were various.
Oh, I know you being from Florida, you definitely didn't enjoy the weather, I'm sure.
Oh, brother, it sucked so bad. Like, and then they were all like, "Hey, come do the polar plunge, you know, jump in." And I was like, "I think I'm gonna do it." And I went and just washed my face off in the water, and I was like, "No way, dude!" It barely had to be above freezing.
Nah.
Cause like.
Yeah, I'm not doing the ice bathing. No, I'm sorry, man.
No, it was crazy because like the first day we were supposed to go to this cabin on this lake the first day, but we couldn't get there because the lake was frozen. So we had to go to a backup spot, but then the lake like unthawed overnight and we were able to get out there. And so that water was like just frozen, and so it was just crazy, man. I'd never made a snowball. I'd never got hit by a snowball. Both of those things happened, so it was good.
You thought you'd went to a meeting of the Polar Bear Club.
Oh, yeah, dude. And it was a meeting I never wanted to go to. You know, like
yeah, no doubt. But no, it was interesting, all the people that you had there that, and actually Robert from that Cabin in the Woods, podcast.
Yeah.
He said, I think he's relatively new.
He
to
is.
doing this,
He's
if
only
I'm not
been in
mistaken.
it. He's only been in it about a year and a half. You know, but his wealth of knowledge is insane.
And I'll tell you something else, Stacy. His delivery, the way he delivers his content, is exceptional. He's not pushing anything down your throat. He's not trying to convince you of anything. He's giving you the information he's collected and basically letting you draw your own conclusion.
Yeah.
And I really like his approach to that.
Well, you know, I think with the passing of Dr. Meldrum, I think Robert's going to be one of the voices that kind of still carries the community, you know, because he presents himself in a way like I present myself. I'm just some dude. You know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to come across as some professional.
And he comes off, but he comes off non-threatening in any manner, and it's not like he's trying to shove something down your throat. I actually watched a YouTube video last night. He did one on a 50-foot snake and a Loch Ness monster.
Yeah,
and I hadn't seen him differentiate actually from like Bigfoot. I'm like, I got to watch this, and it was very interesting.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And I've never been interested in the Loch Ness monster. I wanted to know about that picture, that 50-foot snake he took from a helicopter. You know, in the freaking Amazon.
Yeah,
but I never heard about that, and they just I was riveted to it just because I'd never heard of that, and it caught my attention, and I've watched a lot of his stuff. And like I said, I just like the way he presents things.
Yeah, and that snake story is crazy because it struck at the helicopter.
Yeah, and that's what he said, and I'm like, my God, this is crazy, man.
Yeah, no.
I mean, you've always heard these crazy tales about stuff in the Amazon jungle about dinosaurs. You know, these people saw a dinosaur back in the 30s on expedition, and but these cats got a video or a picture from a helicopter, and you could tell that was not a small snake.
No, I think
if you're in Florida, you've seen big snakes.
Yeah, but not like that, brother. That thing is
that thing was freaking huge. Yes.
And that was my biggest problem with that story the whole time. It's like, what does something that big eat? And I guess the answer is whatever it wants.
Yeah, whatever it can catch, probably alligators, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
But yeah.
I mean, it's wild, but we're very naive if we think we know everything that's on this planet. We just are.
Well, that's how people tend to be. We think we know everything. We think we got an answer for every single thing. It's something in our psyche, I
don't necessarily think that as much as we're programmed that way from children, if you think about it.
Right.
I mean, honest to God, that they teach us from children that we've basically been programmed to think a certain way and in absolutes. Okay, here's what history is. There's no alternate to that. Well, we all know that history was wrote by the victors.
Yeah, and
I like to hear the loser side also. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just think in 100 years what they're going to say about this time right now. Because when you look back on the news articles, Fox News is saying one thing, CNN is saying something different, and then you got these podcasts over here telling you something completely different. So, like, where are they going to base truth?
Well, and I think even like the subject you're covering, I think a lot of this, some of this stuff that comes out is to misguide and misdirect and discredit guys like you and other guys like you that actually, have had encounters, have evidence, and there. I think I think the government's behind this. I really do. Because they like to dictate every narrative out there, no matter what.
100%, dude. And I think people like when I was talking to Les over the weekend, he doesn't go down that road. He doesn't think the government cares that much. And I said, I hope you're right, brother, because unfortunately, I believe it's down. It's down to everything. It's down to us wearing shoes. You know what I mean? It's down to the medicine we have.
Oh, absolutely, man. They want to manipulate us right down to taking each breath. I mean, and taxing us for it.
Yep. And it's a control state that we live in, and unfortunately, they get us when we're young in public schools because they teach it to you.
Yeah, exactly.
The way they teach you shit
teach it
is
to
like,
you the way they want you to know it.
Yeah, because I didn't question the moon landing till I was an adult. They teach you at a very early age to be in on that shit. You know what I'm saying? And
you're programmed, dude, from day one.
And it shows itself in high school because the kids who are different in high school, they get picked on. And that only amplifies when we're adults. It's the same shit. Oh, he's a conspiracy nut. Oh, he's one of them crazy Bigfoot believers. That person thinks they were taken by aliens. It's like, bro, what if we're telling the truth? Have you thought about that?
Absolutely. And here's how I am. I'm open to all information. And you can tell me the wildest story on the planet, and I'll follow my gut, and I'll take from it what I want or leave it.
Yep.
And it's just the way, I feel like I have to process information, And I may not believe something that you're telling, and it may be the truth. But like I said, I'm just going to base it on my gut feeling. It's like, I know you don't think the Patty film is real.
Right.
I think the footage is real, but I feel like that there's that story is way twisted compared to where that footage actually came from and how it was obtained.
It may be.
But like you said, everybody's got a theory on that. I know you said you were dying to go get some stuff and build a suit and try to reproduce it.
Mm-hmm.
And you may pull that off, Stacy, and that may convince me that it can be done. I don't think it can, not to that extent. And the time that it was taken. But like I said, that interests me that you're willing or even considering doing that just to put that information out there.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say
something to compare it to.
Right. And I think it's safe to say that I have as much suit knowledge, maybe a little bit more than Roger Patterson did. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And if he made that suit, then I should be able to make that suit.
Oh, absolutely.
And if I can't make it, then I would concede. But
if you can't make it with the technology and the materials available this day and time, then it's never going to be reproduced.
Well, I would
outside of something AI.
I would use stuff from back then so it was fair, use all tools and maybe knowledge that he would have. But, like Logan tonight, my guest, he played that video where he said it was two orbs going through the woods, and he says there's not a road there. And okay, I believe you, but I want to go and see for myself. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and I'm like that. I'm like that as well. I do exactly. But I'll tell you what, I enjoyed your conversation with him as well. And I'll tell you what I like about what he's doing. He's thinking outside the box.
He is.
And I mean, what I'm getting by that, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over repeatedly, expecting different results.
And that's where
I just really think, and I really think that people that are starting to go outside the box with their thinking are going to move this thing forward. I really feel like it's been stagnant. It really was stagnant till thermal imaging came along.
Right.
Even the night vision, the thermal has really stepped it up. And I heard you talking about a couple had a thermal of a dog man. I mean, it's insane.
Brother, when you see
I've
this
heard about that just like everybody else has, but
when you see this
it's still hard for me to wrap my mind around.
Like I showed it to my wife, and my wife it usually will, poo-poo on all this stuff. And when she saw that, she's like, holy shit. She's like, that is something right there. Because she understands how the thermal works. Right. And I think a lot of people, when they view thermal footage, they've never looked through one, so they may not quite getting the grasp of what it is. But she was like, dude, is Dogman real? I'm like, I guess it is, because that ain't no damn suit.
I'm gonna tell you what, dude. The first time I saw the thermal footage that your dad took, I'm like, that was no man.
Right.
I mean, it was just that obvious to me. I'm like, they've got it right here.
You know, and eventually people are going to get better thermal footage than that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. If they haven't already, you know, I think there's stuff floating around out here that people have evidence of that they're afraid of the backlash to even tell people about or let it out.
Well, on that point,
because
I spoke with a guy at the Eastern Alabama Town Hall, and he showed me a video that he took in 2012. And he's never put it out. But, brother, that video is so good. So good.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he just doesn't care or if he's afraid of the backlash or doesn't want it or whatever, because there will ultimately be backlash no matter what. There's always going to be that.
Absolutely. And for everybody that craves attention, there's 100 people that don't want any attention.
Exactly.
Brought to them in that light, you know, for that type of subject matter.
Right.
You know, then they got to be the crazy neighbor down the road that's got a Bigfoot video in his back 40. You know, they just don't want to be those people.
Yeah. You know, because you're always known for that. Like, once you get labeled that, like in my town here, I can't fucking go nowhere. But I don't.
No, absolutely. I guarantee you.
You know, and because I'm one of the few people in my town that have been on television. And so it's like,
yeah. Oh no, I get it.
Fucking
yeah.
Bigfoot everywhere I go. If I go to Walmart, I had to talk to 3 or 4 people, which is cool. I like talking to people.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But it turns, I just went in there to get the cat food into a 30-minute trip. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't imagine what people that are extremely famous go through.
Oh yeah, like no,
you know,
I mean,
it would have to be ridiculous.
I wouldn't leave.
No, you couldn't, man.
Hell no.
And honestly, that would kind of suck. I mean, you couldn't drive to drive downtown and get a burger without getting accosted by 20 people wanting autographs or a selfie.
Right. You know, it's like,
you know, I mean, and not that you don't appreciate the interest from those folks. But my God, man, you got to have a life too at some point.
Yeah, sometimes you just want to go in and get the cat food and get out. You know.
Yeah, you just want to be Stacy down there picking up a cheeseburger, man, and get home and eat it.
Yeah, but you think about like Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson, they like rented a grocery store and hired actors in there so he could go in there and shop. Like, imagine being that famous,
insane,
dude.
Man. Yeah, that's insanity.
I don't know that I would want to be around anymore. You can't go do shit.
No. I'd have to buy my own county.
Yeah.
You know, he had enough money he could, but you know, I just had to own my own county.
Well,
and be done with it or something like that.
You know, he got his own theme park so he could get children there, which is kind of fucked up, but
yeah, that's way effed up. Yeah, no doubt. I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole.
No.
But listen, dude, great show tonight, man. I'm going to get off here and let you go, but great show. And I'm really interested in a lot of stuff you got coming out moving forward.
Yeah, brother, stay tuned, man. I'm going to be dropping some heaters here soon.
I can't wait, buddy.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
All right, you have a great night, man. See you.
All right. We got 17 minutes left. We'll turn the lines back on. Maybe a couple of people will call. Maybe one person will call. You know, and that was the shitty thing about the Canada trip was I get terrible like separation anxiety from leaving my family. Like, it's to the point where I'm like hoping I don't go. It's bad. Like, once I'm down the road, I'm good. But actually leaving the house, I'm like in tears. It sucked. Like, I wanted to go to Canada, but I was hoping something was going to happen and stop me from going. And then, like 2 days before Les calls, he's like, yo, I think I'm going to have to cancel it because of the weather. And I'm like, yes, yes, we're canceling the trip. And then he calls back like 30 minutes later. It's like, we're go. And I'm like, oh, fuck. You know, and it, I don't know what it is. It's like some type of maybe trauma or something. I had maybe fishing did it to me, because like I came back fishing one time from fishing and we didn't have no cell service. You'd be out there a week and I come back in and like my dad's in the hospital, had a heart attack and shit. And I'm like, oh my God. So maybe it was that. I don't know, but I don't like leaving the house. And I don't like leaving my house to go to somewhere where it's fucking cold. That was the other thing, because of course I left the one jacket I meant to bring, and I paid dearly for it. But thank God Robert let me borrow a pair of pants, like insulated pants, that I put on with the other 3 pair of pants I had on, and I was golden after that. But anyways, so 850-695-0522. Got 15 minutes left if anybody wants to call in. I am still getting in line. We're trying to find a campground right now to hold the expedition for the 1st of October. It's going to be in Kentucky, most likely the Red River Gorge area. I think it's Daniel Boone National Forest. So been looking at some places, you know, based on sightings, based on if I think we would have a good chance of having some activity, because it's the one thing you can't promise on an expedition. You can't promise activity, but you can put people in a place to where the chances are the best, right? The last weekend, or the last expedition I did, that first night we didn't have anything, but then the second night we all had a killer experience, and that was really cool. Yeah, you see, when you're from Florida, you don't realize, you know, the shit. It was like 88 when I left here. Got down to like 28 up there. You know, but it was rough. And then it was also like rainy a lot. You know, it wasn't no sun. I'm a reptile. I got to go lay on a rock, you know, heat myself up. But, oh, I forgot to tell you all about the Canadian red squirrel that I met. His name was Ray Ray. I was filming the first day, kind of my setup, trying to get some animal footage. And I sat there and talked to the woods and asked for an animal to come up to me so I could film them. And I'd be damned if the shit ain't happened. This squirrel comes from like 20 feet. He barks at me. And then comes running up to me and just sits like right down next to me and let me film him. He probably wanting food. Probably had nothing to do with me asking into the ether for an animal to come to me. But it came to me and I was like, oh my God. It was so cool. And he didn't say his name was Ray Ray, but that's the first name that popped in my head. So pretty sure his name was Ray Ray. He was pretty cool. He would come back. He had a little bobtail and he would come back couple times. I've seen him like 3 times. I didn't get to say bye though. Didn't get to say bye. Maybe next time me and Ray Ray can hang out again, you know. But yeah, yes, Ray Ray did appear when the world needed him most. And he is in the film. He is going to be in the documentary. So when y'all see Ray Ray, the Canadian red squirrel, you will know, hey, that's Ray Ray. He was not camera shy. He sat there and stared at me and was like, hur, hur, making noises and stuff. It was really cool. I also went in a Canadian grocery store. All right, we got a call. Another call. I'll stop rambling. Canadian grocery store stories later. You're on the Bigfoot Underground. Can I help you?
Yeah, I had a theory I wanted to bounce off of you. I know we've got short time, but
Go ahead.
so I've heard you talk about this. I've heard you talk about this phenomenon with the people seeing the Black Panther in particularly in the southern United States, and what you hear over and over is people seeing them, and then when they report them, it seems like irrespective of what state you're in, the authorities will basically tell you, no, they don't exist. No, you saw a house cat or whatever the deal was. And so I've kind of always known this. I had a thought the other day about what the big deal about covering up the existence of a large black cat that's not known to science. Like, why is that such a big deal? Why would multiple agencies across multiple states and federal agencies all tell you every time you report one that it doesn't exist, you didn't see what you saw, etc.? It kind of sounds like the Bigfoot thing, but it's not Bigfoot, so why would they be hiding a cat? And then I started thinking, the cat's probably, it's going to be, if it's a natural thing, which it probably is, it's got to be a subspecies, like a new undocumented species. It's either a mountain lion that has a melanistic phase, which is not currently recognized. That's the black phase. Or it's a jaguar with the melanistic phase, except the problem with that is only 1 in 10 are black. You following so far?
Right.
Okay, so if you see one black one, then statistically, if it's a jaguar, you would see 8 or 9 or 10 normal color jaguars. But that's not what's happening. People are seeing something and it's black and it's always black. So maybe it's something that mutated and it's in a constant melanistic phase, which would make it a new species, something like that. So, okay, no big deal. That'd be interesting to find out. Why would they cover that up? And then I started thinking about it. Well, what would happen if they came out and said, we think the thing is real? People would start getting funding, and you'd have trained biologists and zoologists with equipment out in the territory where they think the cat's going to be. The territory where the cat's going to be is where there ain't no people, which is also the territory where the Sasquatch are. So I think that the reason that they've covered this up all these years is because they don't want trained scientists and biologists out in the forest looking for cats, because they're probably going to find something else, and they might get lucky and find some evidence.
Right. It could be that. I often thought maybe it was a jaguar, but you raise a good issue with that, because most of your jaguars are not black. I think the other thing you could see with that, basically boiling down to money. All these national forests are just logging rights that the U.S. government leases out every season for people to come in and log, and now if you've got an extremely rare animal in an area, they have to shut down the logging.
Let me offer a counterpoint.
Yep.
Let me offer a counterpoint. We're not talking about private land. We're talking about like national forests where they can't log. You know what I mean? Like they haven't seen cats in like Denali, but I worked there for a couple of summers. That's 6 million acres. You know what I mean? There's like Yellowstone is huge. Yosemite's huge. If you look at all the state forests, the national forests, the national parks, the wildlife refuge where logging is not allowed, they still cover it up.
Well, the only place down here that, and maybe it's different out in like Denali or something, but like the only place they won't log down here is the refuge. The national forest, that shit's just planted pines, bro. They log in that.
You know what? You're right, because it looks like Apalachicola National Forest is logged or semi-regularly. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, 100%. You can, if you drove around the whole damn forest, you would find somebody logging all the time. They just do it in different sections so they can replant, but they can always log some part of it.
Well, it's funny because when you mention logging, because I've been in this for about 6 years now, pretty heavily. And I started, it seems like there's an evolution when people first start researching. You're going along the, ancient hominid or the intelligent ape kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then you start thinking about why would they cover it up? And usually that's the first thing that people come up with is the logging and how it would affect industry, and they'd have to protect these areas and it'd create a big thing. And for a while, that's what I kind of went with that. But then as you do research, yeah, if you're still thinking, and no disrespect to anybody with different opinions, but if you don't think there's anything supernatural or paranormal or whatever word you want to attach to it, after you've done a couple of years of research, I don't know what to tell you. There's just too much. There's too much stuff. So that could be the mundane, logical explanation. But I'm just noting that in my Bigfoot evolution, I started with logging and I dropped it pretty quick as far as like why they're covering it up.
And I'm often curious about that, is just because you're right. The longer you're in this, if you're out in the field doing stuff, you're eventually going to have to cross that paranormal bridge at some point. And
whether you like it or not.
Yeah,
so you either have to go into denial or yeah,
because
or
when I
cross the
first
bridge, as
started,
you just said.
Because when I first started, I believed it was an ape, and I wouldn't hear a damn thing else.
Right.
But
no,
enough shit started happening,
and then I went to caveman.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't ignore it anymore. And maybe that stuff's just not happened to people, or maybe they're just blocking that out and not being true to themselves or the subject.
Yeah, I think it's a combination. I was lucky enough to live near Saratoga, Texas, as a teenager. So I went down to this place called Bragg Road and watched the Saratoga light several times, the orbs, that would come out. So that was at 17, 18, 19 years old. So at a very early age, I knew that something weird was going on. But as far as the Bigfoot stuff goes, I think my general opinion, without getting into any specific theories or anything, is that if you look at the method of the cover up, the techniques, how they do it, it mirrors exactly the UFO cover up. And I know a lot of people don't like to mix, but they're going to have to get over that because there's a lot of mysteries in this world and they're not separate mysteries, right? It's like my analogy is if you're trying to there's a murder guy with a knife in his back and, face down in his house, and you're the detective sent to solve the crime. And you find 3 or 4 anomalous things, right? Like you found a banana. Well, he doesn't eat banana. He hates bananas. He's allergic to bananas. There should not be a banana in his house, right? That's weird. And then there's like some freshly delivered flowers, but nobody knows who delivered them, and he has nobody in his life that would send him flowers. That's weird, right? And then there's a strange photograph that nobody can identify. Well, as a detective, you don't go in and go, okay, I've got 4 mysteries. I've got the guy with the knife in his back, the banana, the flowers, and the photograph, right? That's not how you do it. You go, okay, I've got a mystery here, and there are these 3 anomalous things that don't appear to be connected in any way, but they must be, because the guy's face down on the kitchen with a 8-inch chef's knife sticking out of his back. You know what I mean? And I think the compartmentalization of beliefs and ideas and things like that is why we don't make a lot of progress, because the Bigfoot people don't want to talk to the UFO people or the ghost people and blah, blah. You know what I mean? But I think people are going to get over that, or they're going to have to get over it if they want to evolve. But as far as in general, the reason I think that the government, and I don't even know if it's the government, I think whoever is controlling the government doesn't allow these topics out, is because if we knew the whole truth of Sasquatch, or we knew the whole truth of those weird craft that people are saying, then we would probably know the truth of who we are, like our history as a species, because we've been around 250 to 300,000 years, but we can only go back 5,000 years, right? And so that's like meeting a 45-year-old man that doesn't, has no memory except for the last 3 or 4 months. If you met that person, that'd be the strangest guy you'd ever seen. But that's literally the situation we're all in. We don't know literally where we came from. I think it's being hidden. And I think when you start digging into cryptids and UFOs and, how some of these megalithic, architecture was accomplished, then that's when they start covering it up, because that's what will, lead us to our true history, not the one they're teaching in the books, like you and one of the previous guests were speaking of.
Well, brother, I don't think you're far off. I really don't. I think this is all one phenomena, and it just comes to everybody in different ways, or for whatever reason, it manifests as a dog man sometimes. Sometimes it manifests as a ghost. Next time it might be a damn UFO. I think it's all the same thing, and I think it's tied into how we got here at the end of the day and what we really are. Because I think we're the one thing operating in this space that has amnesia and doesn't know where the fuck they came from.
That's exactly right. Graham Hancock, the author, coined that phrase, "a species with amnesia," and it's perfectly appropriate.
Well, brother, I appreciate the call, man. And we out of time here, so I'm gonna wrap the show up. But thank you so much. I definitely think you're onto something with that.
I'm looking forward to calling back soon. Keep up the good work.
All right, buddy. You have a good night.
Take care.
All right, everybody. That is the show for this evening. I appreciate all of you who have tuned in and continue to support me and support this show. I'm doing my best to make sure we're getting out quality content and stuff that can, raise some questions, make some waves. Let's rattle the fucking boat, because the boat has been sitting still for too long. And with that, I will leave y'all for the evening. This Friday, we got a Dogman interview coming out this Saturday. Members, you'll get to see exclusive sneak peek of my Canadian trip. But once again, thanks everybody. And until next time, stay safe and stay squatchy. Bye now.